Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. You know what this is? This is Way Out Wednesday. This is Way Out Wednesday. This is the day where you right there. You become the boss. All you have to do is give us a call at 508- 924 3521 508 924 3521, and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about, and we will talk about it in its entirety. We'll talk about it in its entirety. Just give us a call. We love to hear from you. We got a couple of topics we're going to talk about today. I want to say good morning to ID, good morning to Torrance, good morning to see is that Magoo Mangas. I apologize, don't mean not trying to be disrespectful. Want to get it right, but it's the screen is a little ways away, so if I butcher your name, please don't take it personal. It's not personal at all. I'm just trying to say good morning to you. And the phone lines are open: 508 924 3521 508 924 3521. Give us a call. We'll love to have your input. um there's a few things, as I said, that we're going to talk about today, and one of them is I want to talk to you about the school system. Um, yeah, the school system. There's a huge conversation going on right now. There's a huge going. Good morning, Cake. There's a huge conversation going on this morning. Going on the last couple of months, actually, where they're talking about how they're going to teach history in the school system. Um, they're saying that they have to water it down a little bit. They have to take this out or take that out or add this or delete that and different things of that sort. And my question to you is this, and I want to hear your whole heart. It is teaching absolute history. If teaching absolute history, unwatered down, unfiltered history, is that also, if you teach it that way, is that also teaching hate? Because there's been some concerns that, well, if you teach it like this, and one this child gonna feel bad about this, and this child gonna feel bad about that, or you're just teaching you're teaching hate, you're teaching that there's been so much hate and blah. If you teach the absolute history, if you tell the truth about history, if you tell the absolute truth about history, Captain Leonard, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? Oh, can't hear you, Leonard. Can't hear you.
Good morning, Raheem, and the Morning Glow fam.
Good morning to you, sir. Leonard, I got to hear your input on this right here, man, because I've been watching this thing for a long time and just trying to see how it's going to play out. And it's not getting any better. It's not getting any better. So, my question to you is this: if you teach absolute history, the way that it is, just tell the truth about history and everything that it entails, lack of a better term. Are you at the same time, are you actually teaching hate? Leonard, what do you say to that?
No, you know how to teach hate if you want to teach it. It's not that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Because
history.
I'm gonna tell you why I say that now. Because I've been watching a few people. They come across the screen doing certain interviews, and they say, "Well, you can't teach it that way because you're teaching this person hate. You're teaching hate about this, and you're teaching this person to hate that person because of this, or because of that, or because of this." And they give a whole list of different things about why they cannot teach it in this way. But what they're doing, they're watering down history. They're trying to take this word out. They're trying to add this word in, and all these different things. They're trying to play on it because they say if you teach it that way with those words, you're teaching hate.
Have
Talk
you
to me.
these people you're talking about, are they white?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense now. Why would the devil change his plan?
Wow.
Why?
Wow. Come on. Come on. Hey, you got the floor, brother. Talk to me.
Liars don't want to be exposed. I don't. I've
Mm-hmm.
never seen a liar that just wanted to be exposed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the pure nature of lying and the truth. They oppose one another.
Mm-hmm.
So when the truth shows up, the liars feel threatened
Mm-hmm.
and they will speak out. And everyone that you hear of them are those wicked white liars
Mm-hmm.
that need to be removed from public life in the
It's
terms
amazing.
of
It's
certain things.
amazing how you threw that out there because it's and truth of the matter, it is. Everybody that I hear is saying that.
They white.
Mhm,
Yeah, I mean that's how you know that there's a problem for them because they're
mhm,
guilty
mhm.
and they still want to create new lies.
Wow.
You just create new lies, just change the name and blah 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 blah. They're just
Mhm.
liars. They've always been liars.
I've heard I've heard they don't wanna use the word slave. They wanna use,
They didn't have no problem using it before, and it happens to be all over American documents and everything.
mhm, mhm. But you know what I'm talking they wanna use, one guy went so far as to say, they were happy. They were like family. They were not slaves. They were this and they were. I said,
Yeah, I
bro.
hope they all die and go to hell early this morning.
Boy, you coming out the gates. This is
But
way
it,
out Wednesday, y'all.
but think about it. If you continue to want to beat around the bush, because that's all they doing.
Mm-hmm.
That the old saying, just beating around the bush.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never been that type of person. It is what it is. I've always known the truth.
And my thing is, and history is what it is. It's history.
Yeah,
It's, it's,
it's
it's
just what
history.
it is.
Yeah. And so, and that's why I really have an issue with that part of it, because this is what happened. We're not gonna add anything to it. So why do you want us to take something away from it?
hmm As a matter of fact, I'm all about the truth. I don't care how much it hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So those types of people are just like we talked about. They are liars. If
Mm-hmm.
you prefer lies, you're a liar
Mm-hmm.
and you're deceitful, and
Mm-hmm.
no one should trust you.
Wow. Wow. Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Good deal, good. And I want to go deep into this conversation today, man. And then we're gonna talk about other things as well. This is not all we're gonna talk about all day, but I wanted to talk about this, man, because it's really been, it's been on me.
hmm
It's been on me for a minute. I said, okay, no, it's not. It wasn't the right time. Rico, Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain. Welcome to the new day, man.
Hey, welcome to you as well, brother. If I could clear my throat, excuse me, Rico. You been listening to us this morning thus far?
I just got off.
Okay. I'm asking a question, Rico, and because I've been watching this thing for a long time, and as I'm sure you have as well, but I've been seeing the school systems and different people that work for the school systems and how they've been trying to teach history. And they've been saying that, well, we can't teach this way, we can't teach this way. Take the word slavery out because they were family members, they were blah blah blah. They want to teach history in the way that they want to teach history, which is not the accurate history as it happened, because they say if you teach it in that way, Rico, you're teaching hate, and we don't want to teach hate, and we cannot teach hate because it's not good for our children. Our children. Rico, what do you say to that, man? They want to water it down and teach it in the way they want to teach it, but they don't want to teach the accurate truth about what happened in history because they say it's teaching hate. How do you feel about that?
How I feel about that is when you know the truth, you teach it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You go back and find the resources to also counter or to add on to supplement
Mm-hmm.
what the school is and is not teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is the truth. That's how people deal when they're ashamed, when they're embarrassed about how they behave with things that are in their nature. At one time they thought that was good. You remember yesterday I told you that people love righteousness, good, and the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But when they find out what they liked or they thought was good was wrong, then they want to avoid the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's how we avoid it. We start making up stories that make things look more polite. Early settlers, they don't call them colonizers.
Mm-hmm.
Settlers, they don't call them conquerors and murderers and savages. Early settlers. I was reading a story this morning about Tasmania. Every now and then I like to go back and brush up on stuff that I know about. And they wiped out that whole island off the coast of Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Made them extinct. But now they say, here recently, that they found DNA of ancestry within some people that show that they still exist. Not full-blooded, though.
Mm-hmm.
That means there are some people with a little Tasmanian in them. But for the most part, there are no more full-blooded Tasmanians because they killed them.
Mhm.
Who killed them? Early settlers. Let's dress up that word a little bit and make it sound real sweet and nice. You know, that's how they work. But then at the same time, they can go back and use other adjectives to make something sound worse than what it really is.
Mhm.
Terrorists, thugs,
Mhm.
super predators. So you know that's the way they play the game. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
up to you, as a parent, as a person in your community that knows this is going on, to educate those that come behind you that don't know any better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. Tell us what you think about this thing, man. Like I said, it's been something it's been on me for a minute, man, and I've been wrestling with it a little bit, but you know, it's troubling. It's really troubling. And we got Captain. Captain, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning to everybody. Peace to the gods.
Hey, peace to you as well. We're talking this morning. You know, this is way out Wednesday, so ain't no telling where we're gonna go this morning. But we're talking right now about history and how schools are trying to teach history. They're saying, now, Captain, they're saying that they don't want to teach history as it is, because if we teach history as it is, they want to water it down, take certain word, they want to take the word slavery out, take different things out of the way that they teach history, because they say that if they teach it that way, it's going to shame certain people and it's going to, quote unquote, teach hate. If you teach it that way, you'll be teaching hate, and we don't want to teach hate to our children. Captain, what do you say to that?
Well, you know, dear brother, why are we always worried about how other people paint our narratives?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, man. It's just like I heard the minister use these words. If a people does not treat you right, are you expecting them to teach you right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If we look at the statistics of what's happening with our people in the community or in the country, how are we overall treated? There's a couple of us get treated very well because we carry ourselves as a respectable, decent human being. But collectively, when you're dealing with people of ignorance, when you're dealing with 85% of the people that are under poverty level, then you're going to see those people be treated a certain way. And if they're treated unjust, if they're treated abusive, then are you going to look for the same people that all of a sudden go into school and teach you right? You can never tell Jewish people to water down what they suffered under the Third Reich. You'll
Mm-hmm.
never hear them talking about, they want it to be raw. Keep it 100. Don't put no number 2 on it. Don't put no chaser with it, because that's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about watering down our history to please the people who have played a role
Come on.
in bringing us down. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Why we waste too much time worried about what somebody? There's the old saying, ain't what somebody call you, is what you answer to.
Mm-hmm.
That's my spirit on that one.
Good deal. Good deal. Leonard, talk to me, brother.
It's the same way. The truth is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The battle in these schools has nothing to do with children.
Mm-hmm.
The battle in these schools has something to do with their parents. And the children of these wicked people are more likely to be ashamed of what has happened, because you got to remember the other ones weren't ashamed of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
These new young white children are ashamed because they see the wrong in it, which means they're going to put forth more incentive to destroy racism. So that's why the truth needs to be taught. You need to
Mm-hmm.
know what you're trying to break down, what you're trying to destroy. In 2022, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
You still got people talking around. I don't know why they say it. I don't know if they know how ignorant it makes them look. There is no racism, or there isn't this, or there isn't that. You're a fool.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I've watched white folks blatantly look in the camera and just lie and seem sincere. Forgive them for they not what they do, but they gonna die and go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple
Wow.
as that. Because they refuse to do what is right. Right is not their way. That's why they won't do it. And you have to understand that. It's not about how you gonna make them feel a certain way and this, that. No, it's how you gonna separate yourself from those type of people. And you should be doing that on every level. Not just watching somebody on TV talking about it, but in your personal life as well. You should be ashamed to hang out with a racist.
Mm-hmm.
You should be ashamed to break bread with a racist. You should be
Mm-hmm.
ashamed to support and vote for racists. But if you're not, you're them type of people I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. In that category.
Yes.
Good deal. Good. Talk to me, Rico.
Yeah, he said something then, man. I mean, I was thinking about not only the white people that'll say racism doesn't exist, but the black people that say it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
I find that hilarious. Are the people that say it doesn't affect me. I don't have an issue with it. Okay, you might not right now, but believe me, you are the prey. And if you ain't careful, you get caught slipping in what they call lacking nowadays, you'll be a victim. If not by a white person, just by the conditions that it created from the young super predators that they created. You know, when we talk about history, man, we talk about the miseducation of the Negro.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk about words that we call ourselves that they designated for us, black. That's the word, some words that we didn't call ourselves before we came across them, but they miseducated us into labels that they thought we were. And we embraced it. We still are being miseducated.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say, you know, true enough, for you to survive in this system, you pretty much have to accomplish everything you can with that education, also knowing that this is just his story.
Mm-hmm.
Carter G. Woodson was a black educator at a black college, Howard University. He the one who wrote Miseducation of the Negro.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How about he was fired for trying to teach African history at a black college by Jewish founders?
Wow.
If I ain't mistaken, I think Howard University was founded by Jewish doctors. I might be wrong. I'm gonna have to go back and look that up, do a little bit more refreshing. Fired for trying to teach African history at a black HBCU college.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
Just marinate on that for a second.
At the Institute of Higher Learning for Black People, you can't even teach Black history. Wow. Wow. Captain, it is said that if a person that don't know its history is doomed to repeat it. In that mindset, what is the effect of them not wanting to teach us proper history as it happened?
Well, it's very clear, man. If history is taught to not only to remind people of their contribution towards history, but history is also taught to remind us of the ills and the horrific pains of a past in order that you can correct it. So it served two purposes. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says history is best qualified to reward all of our research. That's deep. That's the truth. It's the best qualification. We want to know something. Go the history. This is in the book. Now, people had the power to distort history. We thought Christopher Columbus discovered America. They thought that for I don't know how long. They only realized the dude got lost. You know, but if you keep telling somebody a lie long enough, you will begin to believe. They like to always say, well, black people sold black people into slavery. Well, there's some truth to that. We can't deny there's some truth. But on what level? Never on the level where the Europeans came in, did it? And if they want to talk about why did black people sell black people into slavery, they was getting rid of their problem. If I was a Crip and I caught some bloods, and then I have a slave master who said, "You got some bloods you want to sell? Man, they my enemy. I got them over there in the cage. How much you gonna give me for each one of those bloods? I'll give you $50 for every blood you got. Take them." You getting rid of my competition. You getting rid of my. They didn't know. No, they never asked the question, why did black people sell black people into slavery? It's because of tribal disputes. But you ain't gonna hear that. You're gonna hear somebody make you think that we was just as greedy as the man that was coming to pick us up. That ain't true. But if you don't know your history, how can you know where you're going if you don't know where you came from? So you take away a people's history, you're taking away their belonging, you're taking away their identity, you're taking away their contribution to humanity. And all you're gonna make me think that you paint a picture in America that when you found us, we was running around with bones in our nose, call us porch monkeys, butt naked. That is not true. That is a lie. I've been to Africa 3 times. But if you don't know better, if you believe the lie, then you feed into it. Then you think less of yourself. And people don't have no value. They surround them things with things of value. And that's why we surround ourselves with Jordans, red bottom shoes, because we don't see our own value. So what I got to do, I got to surround myself with things of value that you may look at me like I'm valuable because I got some red bottom shoes. No, man, nobody wanted you to know who you are and what you are. Because if you really know who you are and what you are, there is no way you can stay up under this condition and allow people to rule over you once you know who you are and what you are. No, they don't want you to know your history. Their wife is so clean, brother. You would think, man, my man who had went over across the mountains, Hannibal. You would swear to God, if they tell the story, Hannibal was a white man. And he wasn't. He wasn't. You would think Queen Nefertiti, she was a white woman. She wasn't. Cleopatra, you think she was a white woman? She wasn't. So no, history is very important. And anybody who dismissed that is crazy. And you know what they are? They have amnesia. That's what they have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Leonard, talk to me, brother.
And I couldn't agree with Captain Dennis more on the issue. We know what the problem is. I've said and that's why it seemed a little bit off-putting for some people. But I wasn't raised with these lies. I never believed all this stuff people talking about, most of it. That's why it don't bother me. Because I know they've been lying. They've been lying since I was a little child. So it don't occur. It is not surprising to me when it comes to certain things. Like when Columbus discovered America, but people was here when he got here. He didn't know where he was going. So what did he discover? He discovered he was lost. He did discover America because they was behind. People had already been here and explored over here. That's the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
The next person that come can say they discovered it too, because they did if they ain't never been here. Never believe crap like Christopher Columbus discovered America. What's another one? The Santa Claus, and we just weren't raised like that. So I don't have no real attraction to it because it is a lie. You know, and I don't know where other people may have went to school and everything, but I'm about 51. I don't even think a lot of them believed it. That's why I say it's really not it ain't about children. It's about adults pushing an agenda. The children are not going to stand for it because they have too many things that draw them too close to one another. See, now you look over there and you like, she fine. I don't care what color she is. You know, that's my friend. That been my friend. I don't care what color they are. If I ain't got nothing to eat, I'm gonna share with my friend, and it don't matter what color my friend is.
Yeah, exactly.
So what they teach and things like that is always going to be challenged, and that's what you have to do. Truth has to challenge that to the point where if students just were being taught something that was completely untrue, I could see these new students walking out or protesting if motivated to do such. You know, but one or two sentences here or there It's not an issue to me.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is the matter. If there's some truth there, it's still true. So this whole debate that they don't brought up about critical race theory, they're talking about it because race is in the middle of that. Critical race theory.
Mm-hmm.
What about just the critical theory of disenfranchisement of people of color? How about that?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because they
508.
can't even say that.
Mm-hmm. They want to have that conversation.
They can't even think about it on that level.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Mm-hmm.
want your kids to be ignorant, keep teaching your kids to be this ignorant. And they're going to look ignorant everywhere they go. And then we going to know what type of homes they come from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We're talking about history, how it's being treated, how it's being taught, and how it's being watered down, if you will. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. Rico, talk to me, brother.
Well, I want to speak on how conditions can be created that can force you to comply. You know, I think on this platform before we talked about the educational system being a program.
Mm-hmm.
Children going to school and being programmed, and some people sort of disputed that. That ain't no programming, it's education.
Yeah, yeah.
But now, if you listen, it's starting to sound like you're being programmed.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the thing. We create a system, a value system, an education system, a financial system, and then we create the standard and the bar set for you to succeed in this system. We're gonna set the bar, and we're gonna test you in this education system. And the stuff that we program and feed to you, if you don't answer it in the way that we have taught you or programmed you to receive this information, you fail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So guess what? Columbus discovered America. In what year? You got to go along with the program. If you don't, you're going to fail in their system.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to survive and be a part of their system. Ain't that such a dilemma? Man, I got put in the hall all the time. You disruptive. Because I was observant, man. I paid attention to the details. I actually pictured in my mind what was being taught. And I was like, well, wait a minute. You telling me that y'all saying he discovered America? I said, well, how about the Europeans or Great Britain found out that there were other people in this new world?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, but I realized then about their history. They're telling us from their perspective that they discovered that these people were already over here, but they didn't put it like that because they were ready to claim it. The settlers. That's what they did. They went around and settled everywhere. It sounded very peaceful sounding word. But then, I was thinking about what Captain Dennis said about how they always come back and say that about y'all sold each other into slavery and this and that. Once again, you have to think about the logic and the detail. Put yourself in those shoes. These settlers came over to Africa with cannons and guns and weapons that these people didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
But they were some lazy people. They came looking for slaves anyway because they were some lazy people. But they had these weapons, and they said to themselves, well, you know what? See y'all battling each other. We got thousands and thousands of guns and artillery, but we'll give y'all 8 to go and defeat that other tribe. Now, you're going to do what we tell you to do, or you're going to suffer the consequences of what you already seen we can do with these guns. Now, what you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you might as well cooperate. Oh, and I'm just going to give you 8 guns to go and fight your enemy with, and a certain amount of ammunition, just so you won't have enough to come back and fight us with, in case you get a little smart, because we know about how educated y'all were. We know about the Emerald Tablets. We know about the pyramids. We know about Timbuktu. We heard about y'all. Y'all some smart jokers, you know what I'm saying? But y'all ain't got this type of aggression and violence that we got. We'll blow y'all brains out.
Mm.
Now, y'all want to go fight for us, or y'all want to fight against us? And we'll throw a little gold in with it. The last slave ship that they found down in Mobile, near Mobile, the Clotilda. That man's family is worth millions, millions, and millions based off the money that he made from back then. He was still importing slaves illegally to come and work in his factories. and he traded, I think it was maybe $4,000 worth of gold for 8 slaves. They had already looked. They done went over there and ran. Well, no, I forgot they had the gold rush over here. So we had our hands on gold, and so some of that was traded. Some of the slaves was traded for gold, along with weapons. But that is so much part of that education we don't know. Look, had it not been for research and people going back beyond what history was, the history that was taught in school, we wouldn't have found the Clotilda. The only people that would know about that family's riches and wealth and why they own that little community down there in Mobile and worth so many millions of dollars, the only people would know their history is them.
Yeah.
And they probably wouldn't tell nobody that they were still importing slaves illegally, trading slaves. You know, this is another part of history, though, because I know I'm going a little bit too long. But that history says that all of us got here through the transatlantic slave trade. And they said that we were not seafaring people. But at the same time, Eastern culture tells us that black man navigated this whole planet before the white man even came out the caves, before he even started bathing. We introduced him to bathing, but you ain't gonna learn that in school. So I mean, you know, it's his story, and we have to understand what his story is, but go in knowing and thinking about the details of how logic works. There's no way those people just actually just up and sold slaves to those colonizers or settlers like that without some type of persuasion.
WB.
Either with gold or guns.
Wow, good deal. We got about 3 or 4 calls that just came in, man. I want to touch each and every one of you. Y'all be patient. I'm gonna touch each and every one of you. Cassandra, you was the next one on the poll. We're talking about history, the school system, and how the school and this is good because you are prior educated. You was an educator as well, and so you know how the school system work in regards to this conversation that we're having. They want to change history. They want to change it and take certain words out. They want to take the word slavery out of history. They want to take that word out and different things. They want to water it down because what they're saying is if they teach it in that way, if they teach accurate history the way that it actually happened, they would, in essence, Cassandra, be teaching hate. What do you say to that?
Well, you don't have to teach it; they show it. So it's not something that you actually have to. They show that hate towards us, and they don't want us to recognize our history. And I'm going to tell you something. We talk about white people that don't want to recognize history, and can I tell you, just a couple of days ago, I do the Moores Ford Bridge lynching reenactment, the only lynching reenactment in the world.
Yes.
I've done it for 14 years. This year will be my 14th year. I had a black woman literally come at me and say, why are you wanting to talk about lynching? What that was back then. And I was like, what the? And so she did it in a text. And so I said, listen, can you call me? And when I got through, schooling her, she was almost in tears. What the heck? This is our history. This took place in this country. Why would we not want to remember? In fact, these people, my people, the Malcolms and the Dorseys, they have never gotten, their family members have never gotten any kind of closure. So I have a problem with people not wanting to know their own history. I don't care whether you black, Irish, whatever. They know their history. The Irish, the Scottish, these people, the Jews, they know their history. We're one of the few groups of people that don't want to know our own damn history. Excuse my language.
Good deal. Good deal. Let's go to Hicks. Hicks, good morning. And how you doing this morning, sir?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing fine. Pray everybody's doing well.
Doing well, sir.
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen a little longer so I can sort of construct my thoughts. It's sort of jumbled for me right now, so I'm gonna listen a little longer.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. We have I think we have WB. Is that? Did you say WB?
That's me, brother. How you doing this morning?
Hey, man, what's going on with you?
Hey, I love you, man. I love the
Hey.
station. Finally got on, brother.
Good deal. Good to have you. Definitely good to have you, man. I need to hear your heart, brother, and love you too. I want to hear your heart, brother. They want to take us.
I see a lot of that too, man. You know, I go to a lot of homes these days. Guess what they're doing?
What's that?
Homeschooling.
Yeah.
You know, they're homeschooling.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to put their kids in school because, like you guys say, they're hiding everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you ask yourself, you know, who makes up the rules to stop teaching this?
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, my next door neighbor, she works for the school system.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what they do? They homeschool.
Yes, sir.
Because they cut it down all the time. I hear it everywhere I go. I'm in homes every day, all day. And that's all I hear. I don't want my kids going to school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like what they're doing. I don't like what they're doing. But man, is it ever going to stop? Probably not.
Mm. What do you think the benefit is? What do you think the benefit is, if there's any benefit at all, with taking out, watering down the history and teaching it to the children in a way that's not totally accurate?
It's wrong. You know, I'm 64. We grew up, you know, we just, whatever they taught us. But now they're trying to, like you say, water it down. I mean, but like, again, man, who's making up these rules to do that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, these kids need to know the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Period.
Absolutely.
I'm glad I got on Bluetooth. I've been trying for 2 weeks, man. Finally got on.
There you go. Good deal. Good to have you, brother. Good to have you.
Hey, good to have you, man.
Good
Station, brother. I gotta go to work.
I appreciate you. And Curtis, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Morning, Rodney.
Man, talk to me, man. You heard what we're talking about, brother. From your viewpoint, from your standpoint, and if I'm not mistaken, you use prior education as well. What is the benefit, man? Why do they want to take the truth out, water it down, and feed the children something that's not accurate?
It's a systematic breakdown of a given group, culture, and self. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
If you teach the truth, then what happens is those who are in power will lose power. Not only physical power, but they'll also lose economic power.
Mm-hmm.
If you prove the economical power that you have will then be found out to be completely corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a method to keep power through influence. You know, how'd you get the overseer in the field? You made him think that the Negro was going to take his job, that the Negro was going to take something off his table.
Mm-hmm.
If you take what we see going on even today in politics, there's one entity that specifically comes on TV and that consistently throws out this same message. You know, it's connected to identity politics. You know, the message is they're gonna come, they're gonna take your jobs, they're gonna rape your women, they're gonna da 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 da. It's toting guns, da 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 da. Like, it's the same thing. They're willing to kill your babies. It's the same message. This country is what now? 245 years old. I think we just turned 245 years old.
Mm.
You know, to be honest, this country don't have no history without the black folk. They don't.
Wow.
They don't even have no historical monuments, real talk, that wasn't built by black folk.
Mm.
Like, come on, black and brown. Man, history, yeah, that's right. It is true. It's true to his story. It's not, it leaves out so much. I mean, and then, I hear when folks say, well, what can we do about it? You know what I mean? Like, we can just do that. Well, hold on. I got a rebuttal to that. Okay, so what if the forefathers said, we don't want to pay these taxes. What can we do about it? Oh, that's just what it is. You know, what if the abolitionists said, well, slavery is what it is. We can't do nothing about it. We just going to stay in our silos. Like, we hitting a time where I never thought I'd see a day in America where a minority is ruling the majority. Like, that rule done completely went out the window. And that's the biggest rule, if you realistically think about it and look at it. That is the biggest rule that the founding fathers established. When they established the government, and they established the 3 branches of government, the 3 branches of government are established to be a check and a balance to the other 2 branches. So I don't know, man. Rome is burning. I'm just make it plain.
Exactly. And my thing is, Leonard, I don't see where there's a benefit to watering down a history that has happened and trying to feed it to people, your people and everybody else, when you're taking out big punks or chunks of the truth and don't want to teach the whole truth. What's the benefit to that, Leonard?
Well, I think, the story, plus of all, the story gets more and more elaborate as you discuss about. As you discuss it. History is about, what, 45 minutes out of a school day? You can say whatever you want during the 45 minutes of the school day. As long as it's in that book. You know what I'm saying? So you know what you did.
Yeah.
There's lots of, people are homeschooling, as the one gentleman said, and things like that, taking their kids out, this, that, or the other. That's your right to do so. No one has to tell you the truth. I don't know why people live like that. Who told you somebody was supposed to tell you the truth? Who? Why would you believe half the stuff you believe? Like, say, for instance, this issue this past weekend, because I'm not so much hooked on the color part of it as I am the ignorance part of it. See, I'm more about righteousness than anything else. The truth of the matter. I'm not, because it's black or white. No, just teach the truth. As long as you teach the truth, I'm fine. But don't lie. And folks shouldn't always misinterpret what someone's saying as if it's just a lie, because there may be some truth in it. Like when people tell me, yeah, your kid, you come and you want some help because your kid been locked up, but what you don't tell me is why he shot them 3 people. I know you think he locked up and for some reason it's unfair, but you don't want to talk to me about them 3 people he shot. Because I'm going to throw you out of here. Because you only want to tell what's appealing to you.
Yeah.
You don't want to tell the whole story. See, that don't just belong to one race of people.
Want to tell your truth is not the absolute
there
truth.
You go. Your truth. That foolishness. My truth. Your truth. Come on now. Truth is the truth. Either you did or you didn't. There's lots of reasons why people do things. Is something in you that would make you do what them wicked folks did? That's what you need to be worried about. How are you living every day? Are you telling the truth every day?
Come on.
Are you really? Or are you lying to somebody every day? Lying about who you really are or what have you. So a lot of people get into these things and all it takes is for a narrative to take off, but you can tell an ignorant poor person anything. You can tell them anything. Say, for instance, what's the man, the preacher now that's apologizing for what he taught about tithe?
Creflo.
So
Creflo
what?
Dollar.
How many people go to that church? That's them foolish people fault. Ain't nothing a Negro can tell me to make me give you 10% of my money. I don't care what robe you got on or who you say you are. You're a sucker. 10%. Stop being a sucker all the time and go find out something for yourself. All this reading you could be doing, but you rather sit there and listen to somebody tell you how to live. That has never made sense to me. My parents didn't even teach that. Because if they wrong, They wanted to be corrected.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't spend their time really lying to you that much. They might have told you it wasn't no kid. This is grown folks' business. But they did not tell you a lie about it. And I know some of y'all was raised with rotten parents. That's not excluding them rotten parents y'all had neither. But that's why they still rotten, because their parents was rotten. But then you see the exact opposite, where you see when these kids grow up and they move away from that wickedness. Hey, you know what? That stuff my mom and them taught me, I can't even use. All I know is they taught me wrong, and I'm gonna change my ways. Just like before quote Christians that the Old and New Testament issue.
Good deal. Let's do this. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Because I ain't gonna let Leonard talking about some of us had some rotten parents. I ain't gonna let Leonard say that. Now all of us had great parents. Ain't nobody had no rotten parents. What Leonard talking about around here? We ain't gonna let you say that there, Leonard.
But I used to tell my little white friends when I was a little boy, we gonna be cool until you start acting like your mama now.
Tucson. I know I saw Tucson come in. Tucson, wake up and go to sleep. Wake up and go to sleep.
And I ain't sleep. I'm just listening at Leonard talk about people mama this morning.
I'll talk about your mom.
No, look, we ain't gonna let him talk about nobody. Talking about rotten parent. We ain't gonna let him do that, man. Put the mute button on him real quick. But Tucson, we're talking about history, man. We're talking about history and how the school system, there's certain elements of the school system don't want to teach the accurate history. They want to take certain words out and water it down to appease them, because they say they don't want to teach that because it's going to hurt some children and it's going to help other children, blah, 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 blah. And so what they're doing, they're trying to water it down and not, listen to this part, and not teach hate. Tucson, what do you say to that?
What? And not in America?
Yes, sir. They don't want to teach hate, man, because if they teach that history the way that it is and the way that it happened, what we're doing, we're gonna be teaching hate, and we don't want to teach our children hate. Now we don't want to teach our children hate. Now we did some hateful things throughout history, but we're gonna take that part out because we don't want to teach that, because that's hate, man. We don't want to teach our children hate. We can't give children hate. What is wrong with you? Tucson, talk to me.
You leave me speechless. I'm confused. Because you ever went to the store and you just shopping, and somebody and their little kid passed by and they pull their kid closer. I ain't finna touch that child. I ain't touching that child. You love yourself.
Now see, Leonard talk about people mama, you talking about people children. Lord Jesus, Lord. Bless us, Lord. Don't call the people children. Call the people children ugly, Lord Jesus.
What day is it?
Oh, this is Wednesday, brother. Yes, sir. You know what it is. This is absolutely Wednesday. But
people that do hateful things don't want to teach hateful things. That don't make no sense. You teach by your actions, not what come out of your mouth. Yeah, well, it's one of them days here today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I didn't want to touch what else we was talking about. But anytime somebody want to repent for their wrongdoing, why don't you reverse the process? I'm talking about Mr. Dollar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just give everybody their money back if you're lying.
Yeah.
How about that?
And no, he said he want to burn all the books and videos and CDs. He want to burn all of that. He want to burn it all. Just burn it all. Burn it. Burn it.
I give him the match and the gasoline.
Wow.
So it is.
I don't want to burn it. I'm gonna bring it back to you. Everything I bought, bring it back to him. I want my money back for everything I bought. That's what.
Yeah.
Why would I?
Anyway,
I ain't get nothing if I burn it. I ain't get nothing but smoke. But my thing is, if I bring it back to you, I want my money back. Here, I bought this, I bought this, I bought this. Then you create this? Then you make this? Okay, I get up off my money, man. Get up off my money. But anyway, Captain, talk to me. Captain, what's on your heart?
Well, you know, man, I don't know what to say about Professor Leonard, man. This dude, I mean, he shoots straight, man. I mean, you can't get mad at him, man. I mean, he keep it 100 according to how he see things. But there's one thing that Dr. Leonard, he most certainly had made clear some times ago, that people choose to be ignorant. You know, I mean, you know, you choose to be ignorant. That's ignorant now is a choice. And with all this knowledge of information that's out there, how you choose not to know? You want people to feel sorry because you don't know, when you won't take your lazy behind and get on the computer to know. You know, we have to call Badger our research analyst, because as soon as you put something out there, Badger gonna go find the facts on it. You know, which is good, because we don't never want to be caught sharing false information. Why is truth so important? Why would you take the truth out of history? It's because truth allows us to make a proper decision. Truth allows, listen, if you tell a woman that, hey, baby, I want to let you know straight up, I'm married. You give her the right to make a proper decision if she want to go on with this relationship. She can say clearly, well, you know what, I'm sorry, I don't mess with married men. You handsome and all that. I wish you wasn't, but that's something I don't do. Well, the truth allows her to make a proper decision. But if you lie, baby, I ain't married, you then she gets involved. Then she gets pregnant. Then you come with the truth. See, that's horrible. So no matter how painful the truth may be, it allows us to make a proper decision. And anyone who wants to hide the truth, water the truth down, only the devil don't like the truth. You got to be a devil. The devil hates the truth. And if you try to give me, see, people who want to feed you a lie, it's because they want to continue to keep you into perpetual slavery. The rich take advantage of the poor. We know that. You can't have rich people unless there's poor people. They go together. So if I'm on top, I always want to stay on top. So I want to take advantage of you. So they hide. The Jewish people doing the same thing. They don't want you to know that they built the slave ships. They played a role in the mid-Atlantic slave trade. They don't want you to know that. But it's the truth. But you try to hide your hand and the role that you played to keep us in. Everybody got a culpability to keep us in this condition. But we don't have a culpability to stay in this condition.
Exactly.
So one of the things is the truth. As the scripture says, and you shall know the truth, and what? And the truth shall set you free.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hicks, what's on your heart, brother? You ready to talk to us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wow. Great conversation, great dialogue. I guess you know, the more I looked and studied history, the more I found I didn't know. And in everything I thought I believed at one point, I found out it was a lie. So, you know, it still is sort of confusion, even about like recent events that's going to be history that's passed down without being truly resolved. 9/11, Vietnam, what started the war, weapons of mass destruction. These are things that go past in the present, but they're going to be history. But one of the things I really learned was that when you believe something, and as your belief is firm, you're walking in that, it gives you a measurement to judge other people by, and which is how I learned in my past wasn't really good for educating and bringing people up to a different level. You know, I believe that everybody I meet, I should always take them a little higher, never bring them down, at least leave them where they was. But when the words are used, when a person don't see it the way you see it, his perspective to you, you can't understand it. Then you begin to call labels like fool, fools, and all those personal kind of derogatory things that really don't blend into, because it's personal. You're taking what a person is, his ability to speak his truth out to you, then you're looking at it, then you're saying you're a fool, or your parents wasn't shit.
Hey.
Well, you know, it's not good for conductors. There was always two sides of things. There was those people that was down for slavery, which was an institution for thousands of years, all different cultures. The word slave comes from the Slavs being enslaved for centuries by other European people. But I think just be open. I'm open. I don't know. I admit I don't know. I don't have the answers, but I'm looking. I'm looking better than that to understand the people that I go through this life with, how I respect what it is, their perspective God gave them, even though I may not agree with it. But I'm not going to call them names.
Okay. What do you think the benefit is with taking out certain truths about the history and teaching it with those truths removed? What is the benefit?
There's no benefit for it. I remember when Alex Haley wrote that Kunta Kinte story, and boy, I was young. My blood was boiling. I was so angry. Boy, it set the pattern for a long time in how I thought and viewed the world. But when I began to learn that even it was a fiction, it was created by a bully coming out of from black colleges, Du Bois and all them guys, with a sense to give us something to believe in. They thought, and I believe they thought they were doing something good, but they gave us a lie. You know, when you go back and research the history of what was going on in Africa, the slave trade wasn't induced by white people. It was an institution that went on all over the place. That was how people lived. The slavery in America was uniquely different because it put the religion in it. They took the Bible and they used it to justify and make it right, and even taught us to believe it. So we walk around a lot of times believing, yeah, we had this coming. We did that thing with Ham. We shouldn't have did that. And yeah. And we became better Christians than them. And the history showed that even with the rudiments of understanding of the Bible, we used that to force some changes inside of them. They look at these people, man. They are humble. But slavery wasn't like a one thing. It was all the slavery in this city of that country was always the same. It was different. It depends on the people that own it. It depends on where they was. I mean, look at it in full view. There's some bad. Sure, that was a terrible thing. Always had been. But look at the other side. We came up out of that not just by our own effort. We had a whole lot of them pale faces down with us.
Exactly. Rico, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
You know, I always try to figure out behavior of people since I've been young. You know, and you ask the question, why would they try to duck that off and hide it? Well, you know, it takes me back to remembering when my great-grandfather died. And I tried to understand and comprehend death. And at this time, man, my dad was my hero. I mean, you know, I was trying to get an understanding of God, you know what I'm saying, and life and death and heaven, how life began. I was trying to get this understanding, so I'd ask a lot of questions. And I found out about this death thing, and the more and more I found out about it, I'm like, man, that ain't just no sleep. That's forever. So I was about 4 years old. My dad was taking me to my grandmama's house. And I asked him, I said, Daddy, are you going to die one day? He said, yeah. I said, is God going to die one day? He said, no, I don't think so. I said, well, what about Superman? He was like, no, Superman ain't real. So I got quiet. He looked over there at me, man, and he saw how tore up I was, man, because the truth hurt. I didn't want to imagine my daddy dying, much less me. So I asked him again, and he fixed it and lied for me to make me feel better. Nah, I ain't gonna die. Me, God, or Superman, or you ain't gonna die like Daddy. I said, you ain't gonna die. No, you ain't gonna die. Daddy, am I gonna die? No, you ain't gonna die neither. That made me feel better. Because the truth hurt. Knowing that everybody had to die one day at that young age, it tore me up. So imagine how it would feel to you to grow up in the greatest country on the planet. So one of the youngest, most powerful, dominant, richest countries on the planet in the history of man. And then you find out they got it through terrorism and tyranny and rape, pillaging. Imagine you heard the true story of how they control narratives. You know, we ask this question, how do people choose to remain ignorant? By submission. Sometimes people give up.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes conditions are created that make you say, man, you know what? Screw it. What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care no more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even care about that. I'm tired of trying with this school. You know what? I don't even want to learn nothing about no government or politics. I don't even see nobody that look like me. Every time I'm learning something, they're talking about them. You can't relate to it. You give up trying to keep attaining this bar that they will move.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to reach these goals, trying to reach this value system, trying to achieve success and gaining this American dream. And then all of a sudden you start finding out, well, you can't because. And throughout the history of this country, you can't because you black.
Mm.
You couldn't do this. You couldn't do that. You couldn't, those conditions were created, started from the Catholic Church. So why would they want to hide it? Because it's so shameful. The truth really does hurt, especially when you grow up believing that your granddaddy was a saint, but then all of a sudden you find out secretly he was a serial killer and a child molester. Somebody might not even tell you who your granddaddy is.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's a very shameful thing to deal with. And so when you really look at American history and what it stands for and what the double standard and the hypocrisy and the terror and everything that went along with it, it's so shameful, and there ain't too many people that would be proud to go and salute that flag, sing that anthem, and fight against another country for doing things less than what America did.
Mm-hmm. 508. We're dealing with some situations today. This is Way Out Wednesday, and we're dealing with it. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We're talking about history and how certain elements of the school system want to take out or water down history and not teach it the way that it actually happened because they say they're teaching hate. Paul, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning. All right, yeah, the artist formerly known as Public Citizen, really Paul. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I remember, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, man, I know we've been over this topic a whole bunch of times, and I don't want to be misconstrued here at all because it's a nuanced thing. It's not something you can explain in just a few sentences, but I'm a teacher, and I am. The way I see it is the Republicans are exploiting this critical race theory because there are a few teachers out there that I've seen that are promoting things that I think are very harmful, like the idea that whiteness is like this disease in society. And I know where they're coming from. I understand what they mean by whiteness. That's a real thing, but that's not really appropriate for middle school kids, elementary kids, stuff like that. So what they're doing is because of that, those types of teachers, they are saying, okay, well, we can't teach, we need to really scale back what we're teaching here about the actual history that happened in America with Jim Crow and all these types of things and slavery. So, my personal anecdote is when I was in elementary school, one day I was watching a documentary just on regular TV, and I think I was like 8 or 9 years old, and it's horrifying, and it changed me. So I think everyone needs to be aware of the real history, to know what's real, what kind of reality we live in. A lot of people are living in a fantasy land. They don't understand the reality, so they need to know the reality. But if you can't, I just don't want a teacher getting in there and talking about white people are the devil kind of stuff is the problem, because that is very harmful. But yeah, in terms of CRT, it's manipulation. That's what the GOP does. That's their whole thing. Let's divide and conquer. That's what they're doing with the gay stuff too in Florida. You can't even mention gay people. Gay people exist. saying I can't talk about it, I would be fired the first day probably. You know, last year I had a girl in my class who had her mom was gay, and I had another student who was sort of bullying her, and I had to put him on code because that's not okay. So, you know, free speech it has to be, you know, the truth. Free speech and the truth. Those are my fundamental principles.
Absolutely, absolutely. Cassandra, is it a way of throwing a rock and hiding your hand, saying that, you know, we've done all these hateful things throughout history, but now we don't want to teach them because it's going to teach our children history, teach our children our hateful history, and so let's not teach that. Let's bring that back a little bit. Let's scale back on that just a little bit. We don't want to teach our children that because it's teaching hate when there are certain hateful activities that actually happen in history. Cassandra, what do you say to that?
Well, I pretty much answered that the first time that I spoke. I think I pretty much, gave my view on that. I'm for putting the truth out there, and if it makes you uncomfortable, then you just have to be uncomfortable. I don't care. We have to put the truth out. Everything needs to be taught age appropriately because I was in education. I believe it needs to be taught age appropriate teaching, but the truth needs to be told, and that's just it. And just really quickly, and I'm not trying to really deviate from the topic, but we had we sing we say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I have always had from a little kid had a problem saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. What the heck? I have had a problem. I'm talking like first grade.
Yeah.
I've had a problem saying that because as far as I'm concerned, this is just me. This country has never represented, even as a kid, liberty and justice for all. Not to me. Not in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I can agree with that. I can agree wholeheartedly with that. Curtis, what do you say?
Well, I mean, just said it best. I mean, you look at.
Curtis, you there? I think Curtis may be having some problem. He may be getting in the car and his theme may be
I'm right here.
Yeah, his theme transition.
Right here.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I'm right here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you can't negate the fact that there's been a consistent and ongoing movement to halt, prevent, block black wealth, brown wealth. You can't negate from that, man. I mean, and to even try, you telling a lie within the lie. And the fact that you asked a question about how, basically, the way I got it was, realistically, how can you stand on something when you know it's a lie?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I want to make this statement. Now, let's just say that the reason why these folks is wanting the school systems, which is controlled by Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Texas controls what goes in the textbooks and all of that.
Absolutely.
So once again, a state that lost get to make up the rules. But anyway, what if the whole ploy is not
to keep you as a black person ignorant. Because the one thing about a lie, the one thing about truth is you can't stop it. It's gonna come. It's gonna come sooner or later. It's gonna come.
Yes.
But what if the whole initiative is no? We don't want that truth out there because we don't want it to transmogrify the thinking of our younger folk. Because if our younger folks' mentality change and they flip to the point where they saying, no, man, what y'all doing to them people is wrong because I wouldn't want that done to me.
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
How much power will you continue to maintain? Any civil mind will say, you know what? Looking at the facts, looking at the truth, these people are due something. I'll just end with this, man, because I have a tendency to run over my 3 minutes. I remember my senior year in college, man, I had a teacher, I'll never forget it. It was cross-cultural perspectives. So they had already told me that, I had already heard that, you know, hey, he a hard, you know what I mean? And, you know, you might think he a Confederate, whatever, right? Now, he was a judge in Charleston. And so I did some research on him. So we sat in class, right? He didn't know that I researched him. So we sat in class. He asked the whole class about 30 students. He asked the whole class, who in here is for reparations? Right? No, first he asked, who in here is against reparations? Everybody but me and a German female. Everybody raised their hand, Ronnie. It was only 2 white dudes in the class. 30 people, 2 white dudes, me, 2 black dudes, 1 German female, and all the rest was African American females.
Wow.
So he asked, who here is against reparations? Everybody except for me and the German female raised our hand. So he says, who's for reparations? Me and the German female raised our hand, right? Now, mind you, I know that this guy is a hard, you know, he a hard head, right? Guess what he said to me, Raheem? Which to me is a form of critical race theory. What he said to me is this. Oh, so you want something for nothing. I'm in college now. This is my senior year. Now, mind you, I've been around the world twice. I done put my life on the line for this country. Oh, so you want something for nothing. He didn't know that I had did my homework on him. So guess what my reply was, Raheem?
What's that?
Excuse me? You got something for nothing, didn't you? Wow, what do you mean? I worked hard. Whoa. We're not talking about you. Your family been owning slaves since 1619. Their name is such and such. They bought their first slaves right down the street on the selling block right down here in Charleston. They bought them right there. It's in the record. What do you mean? Y'all got something for nothing? You live on a plantation. He lived on a plantation. What do you mean? But that's a form, to me, that's a form of reverse critical race theory.
Wow.
The first thing you say, if I say, I am for reparations, you completely negate the fact that the only people to be paid reparations is the slaveholders. You completely negate that. And then you come out your mouth and say, oh, well, you want something for nothing.
Wow. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother? Yeah. I don't even know how to come back from that one, brother. I don't even know how to come back from that because that's Toussaint. What's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, I don't know. Y'all got me speechless this morning.
Not you, Toussaint.
Yeah, we know that we got horrible parents, and some of our parents ain't.
And some of the children ugly, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you know, it's amazing how when you try to make your stance on the truth, they'll say something like what Curtis, instructor, said.
Exactly.
You want something for nothing. Something for nothing. Well, this country been getting something for nothing for a long time. Built on a lie. And then they extend the lie even in our some of the books we read and we stand on. Now I will say that there are some things that I believe wholeheartedly, and you can't shake me from them. But at the same time, somebody said at one time, everything in the Bible is true, but all truth's not in the Bible. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're missing some things that we just ignore. If we put the pieces back together, possibly we might find the truth. Part of it anyway. But the bad thing about it is we would rather believe a lie than the truth.
And that's the sad reality. That's the sad reality.
The sad reality.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll run with it. That's why so many of us walking blind. Because we just believe it. Whatever you tell me. Oh, my pastor say. You what? Who? Did you check? No. His word is gold. Really?
Wow.
So if he jump in the ditch, you right behind him, right?
Both of y'all messing up your new shoes. 508-924-3521. 508-9.
What you say, right?
I said both of y'all gonna mess up your new shoes. Jumped in that dirty ditch. 508-924-3521. Ain't got no sense. Yes, sir.
What Creflo Dollar done down there now?
Oh man, Creflo, he's shaking it up a little bit, brother. He's shaking it up a little bit. He's saying, you got to give back. He taught tithing wrong, and so now he says it's grace. Is he's teaching grace. The message now is grace, not our tithing and prosperity, as he's been teaching for a long time. And so he said he have a change of heart. He's been awakened. And okay, I'll leave that right there. Captain, what's on your heart, brother?
Wow, man, that was good information about Creflo. He went after the nation real strong, man, and he almost turned all his congregation into Muslims trying to come after us. And he fell off the radar, man. And now, man, they see that he's pretty much ain't nobody believing in that prosperity teaching, and it's trying hard to keep that mega church mortgage paid. So now all of a sudden you found you made a mistake. Man, that's the thing that we talk about, organized religion. You've misled people all these years, and then now you find Jesus, and I made a mistake, and then you come and lay your heart on the altar. Lord, forgive me. He's a forgiving God. I'm like my man Elijah told the false prophets of Baal, man, take them down by the river and chop their heads off. You keep preaching certain things that keep people in this state of ignorance today. Yeah, man. Well, anyway, let me get off of that. Well, nevertheless, I think it's very interesting that the guy was talking about hate and used the word, the white man, the devil, and all. See, people, you can't call truth hate. If that's the case, then you got to condemn Jesus. Because what? Did he teach hate? Because he taught God's law? God don't love everybody. The scripture said he loved Esau. He loved Jacob and hated Esau, one of the two. But the bottom line is, if you hate, one thing about hate, They always want to say, Farrakhan, he's a hater. That Farrakhan, he's a hater. See, one thing about a hater, if he preach hate, then his hate gonna lead to violence. It's just the way it is. If the KKK, David Dukes, preach hate, then David Dukes' hate transcends to violence. If Donald Trump preach hate, then his hate transcends to violence, as we see. Show me one white person that any member of the Nation of Islam giving a bloody nose to. So how can a man teach hate and his hate don't transcend to violence? Is that the fair? It's good to always want to put that label on the minister. Why? It keep people away from hearing the truth that he got to say. No, that man is not a hater. I'm not a hater. But if we go to talk about certain aspects of white behavior, if it's the truth, accept it. We're not talking about the aspect. If you lay the white man the devil, I heard the minister say, well, you may not be the devil, but you sure enough ain't been saintly to us. So we got to be able to recognize if it's the truth. I can't sit here and try to condemn, try to sweeten the truth because it offends you. Black people been swallowing this, man, ever since we've been brought over in America. And when we start talking about white folks, you know what we do when we talk about white folks? We start whispering. There's white folks here. Why we gotta whisper when we talk about them? We're not haters. It's not in our DNA. Black people are not haters. Black leaders are not haters. Black activists are not haters. We are a victim of hate. We hate hate. But don't get guilty because we bring in certain aspects. So what? You ain't had nothing to do with slavery as a white person. Okay. But if you live in a fine home and your people got wealth, how you think they got the wealth that you enjoy? You didn't have nothing to do with slavery. But check out your family tree. And your family tree showed that your forefathers owned slaves and they got rich on the backs and the wealth of free labor that you enjoy to this day. We're not the ignorant people that people think we are. But don't push us now. Don't push us. Because when we go to tell the truth, you may not want to hear it. It may be offensive. But one thing you would not be able to say is not the truth.
Yeah, exactly. 508-924-3521. The phone lines are open. The phone lines are absolutely open. Give us a call. You want to talk about this? If you have a comment, if we off base or some of the stuff that we're saying, and you have the intellect, and you could put us on the straight and narrow, give us a call. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Go to Leonard and then Badger coming to you. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Just thinking about, first of all, it's not teaching hate. You don't teach hate. People take what they've been taught and decide to hate.
Come on.
That's how it goes. It don't go the other way. And so as long as people are making their choice, you have to realize that's why you should be against them. Those people, when they tell you who they are, believe them. Because that's who they are. What, you want them to tell you a lie? That's what we're trying to do now, is get rid of the lying. And one, like I said, it's adults that are making this argument. Because history ain't that darn compelling in K through 12. It's just not. So all history really does between K through 12 is stimulate questions. And if you want to learn more, you can go independent study. You can go to college. You can take a course in it if you want. And you can debate with professionals at it to learn it. Matter of fact, you could become a black scholar and teach as well a different perspective. The people that make the decision on what's taught in your school is your school board.
Yes.
It ain't nothing else. It's your school board. The state superintendent, all of them right down there. They decide the curriculum. They decide what books they're going to pay for and everything. That's why things are being taught in some places that they're not being taught in other places, because of the degrees of freedom that school system have. Remember, education is a child of the state, not of the federal government. So you can go to different state and get different curriculums, which we talked about here on this show, I think, a couple of times with Badger being from Texas and these types of things. Texas is a test ground for a lot of stuff, but you don't have to do what Texas does.
Exactly.
You can teach what you want to have taught in your school. You can teach a completely different curriculum in other schools, which is why a lot of parents don't send their kids to public school. Public school is the place you go when you want everybody included. That's what public school is for. It's the inclusion of everyone, regardless of race, color, creed, economic status, or whatever. Anybody can go to that public school. The issue is when you have adults pushing agendas on people. If you, say, for instance, head of your history department in your school, and you don't want certain things taught, as the chair of the department, guess what? You can make that decision.
It's not going to be taught.
Exactly. So this notion that people want you to believe that you're so powerless, I don't support that, because you have all the power that you need. You just have to do it. If you want to know why certain things happen in your school, look at your school board. You can probably look at them right then and pick them out, the folk that ain't agreeing with nobody, that's starting all the mess and on their own agenda. Go down there and vote their behinds out. That's your job. Not to sit here and complain on the radio.
Exactly.
To go vote against those school board members that do these types of things. Because that's where it's coming from as it relates to your school. Homeschooling has happened for lots of different reasons, and it's more attractive for lots of different reasons.
30 seconds later.
The biggest thing about public school is the socialization portion of it. That's the biggest part about school, not necessary curriculum. So we have to know where to choose.
Good deal. Good deal.
I get what El's saying, but all at the same time, in my mind, I have to equate the fact that, because we just had this happen right around the corner from y'all, right there in Gwinnett County. I have to take a look at, okay, we got to dive, okay, who's taking payolas from who? That's number one. Number two, these people are being voted in to have these spots and being voted out, and then being replaced with the same type of mindset and ideology that we're going to keep our hands on the curriculum. Because I remember just last year, maybe 2 years ago, that county councilwoman down there in Gwinnett County was putting it up not to change the curriculum. She put some legislation up to add to the curriculum and give the students. Now, here's the key part: give the students the option to take it or not to take it. But she wanted to have the African American history and the diaspora of the African American journey put into the school's curriculum. The only people that voted with her was her and one other council member, and the other council members voted no. And when they was asked why they voted no, nobody could give an answer. Then all of a sudden, a year later, oh, we're going to pull this critical race theory, something that has been used in a courtroom. The idea, the theory has never applied to any school curriculum. And it was used by a black lawyer during a case to show that there was racism, that there was a racial bias in the case. So I've seen exactly what Leonard is talking about. We've seen it because it just happened right there in Gwinnett County. But that does not change the fact. I mean, to say that we can just
30 seconds, Kurt.
And vote these people out is one thing, but is that actually happening when you consider that the people that we're voting in are not voting their conscience, they're voting their pocketbooks. They're not voting for the people.
Good deal. Good deal.
They're not.
You're absolutely right. Badger, I was gonna come to you next, Badger. What's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
What was the original topic?
We're talking about taking the truth out of history and watering it down and teaching it to the children, because of the fact that if you teach the actual history, they say that you will be teaching hate. What do you say to that?
Well, that is a very deep.
Your clock running, Badger.
I know, with critical race theory, talking about how racism was used in public policy and how it shaped public policy. That's something that the people in power ain't gonna want. Because all throughout history, winners are the ones that write the history. I mean, why in the Constitution it still has Native Americans labeled as savages? So, I mean, it's there. It's just trying to get the people in power to actually teach it. Give children the access to understand that it's there. But doing that, they're going to lose their strongest tool that keeps us separated. And that's the issue. Why would they put something in the schools that they know they're going to lose their power? And that's what we're really fighting. And to me, it's that simple.
Wow.
We're fighting the people in power. And it starts at the top.
Who's winning?
I want to say I wish we were. But we have to continue voting. We have to fight. It's going to be a long battle. And we don't need to be using guns. We need to use the laws against them. The laws are there. We just gotta fight and get the right people in the right places to promote the truth.
That's good. Now go ahead, brother. You got some more time? Go ahead.
I'm trying not to let my temper out because I've seen so much hatred that it makes me sick. I'm tired of people hating one another. I'm tired of seeing what the people in power are doing. Trying to put out as much information as possible out there. And dealing with a lot of the white people around my area, and I'm not saying it's everywhere, but a lot of the ones in my area are very confused human beings. I can bring up the critical race theory and other things, and I don't know if it's just out of ignorance or fear or what it is, because it's something new, but they're afraid of it.
Wow. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521 is the number. Let's go to Hicks. Hicks, what's on your heart, brother?
Yes. Wow. Good conversation, I tell you. Really good way to start the morning.
Yes, sir.
I sort of stuck on the word that was used, hate. I was trying to think about how it reacts, and I sort of was hated at a time. I hated, I hated things, hated people, I hated a race of people, and I thought about what would be the energy, the vibration of those negative emotions, like hate. Just the word stirs certain things inside you. Revenge, resentment, jealousy. These are lower emotional kind of states that create things for me in my life. And I find that that hate in itself is a lower emotion that don't bring anything good out of life. It makes you meet what you hate. It's almost as if there's attraction going on that you track inside of your experience different things that happen a certain way based off just that you hate inside. I mean, people can't. A lot of people don't know you hate them, but in fact, you know that you hate, and see how it brings things into your life, and gives you cancer, gives you bad health, gives you headaches, migraines. But my whole general thing is that trying to look at history, and I think it's necessary to go back and point out things that was, I think Roosevelt really fine history, and he put it out in textbooks as far as view of history. A compulsory education was trying to get people really basically to prepare for jobs in the Industrial Revolution. They sort of extended the ages to keep kids at 15 to 16 up to 18 to get them out, to keep just having less people in the workforce. But I think that you got to do it. You got to teach it not with the emotion of blaming, judging history of times past by our standards today. If you're going to teach about slavery, you got to teach it in a worldview. You got to go to the origins. How was it? It's there in the Bible. It's there in Quran. It was something different. And then you have to just show how this thing that happened in America was totally out of the ordinary.
30 seconds.
This was destroying and crushing the people.
Go ahead, brother. You got 30 seconds. Go ahead.
I got 30 seconds.
Yes, sir.
So with me, my experiment is my life. I know how life evolved for me when I was full with different kind of emotions, and I can see what happened to my life when I began to try to look for the good in this world, the good in people, not be judgmental, be open-minded. It was a whole going against a different vibe, because when I stood up, I was different than most of. It's like it's a balance. This history, I mean, golly, look where we at. Look where we came from. That's just real. They put a deadbolt in the Constitution. That was their mistake. The mistake was building a republic based off these words in there that was almost like that time bomb to destroy all those things. Because there was real, some states didn't want. You couldn't get agreement unless you made compromises. But I think it was the Creator putting in these words. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. That was the bomb. Because now we could use that to make you stand up what you wrote down.
Absolutely.
So it's a long process, but eventually we hit where we are now. And this ain't the best place, but it ain't the worst place.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And let me say, Raheem, even that was a lie. All men are not created equal. All men are created equally. There's a difference. You can't make a poor man equal to a rich man. But we all are created equally, meaning it takes 9 months for you to get here. It takes 9 months for me. So we got to see, you got to peep the lie. All men are not created equal. So we got to see.
One at a time, sir. One at a time.
Equally.
Okay, Hicks, you wanted to say something?
I'm saying it's like with all words. It's a matter of perception how you want to see it. I think the essence of it's coming from that we're created with these things that we're given from the Creator, that we came here with, and that is a freedom. That's a freedom to be who we are, the freedom to speak, the freedom to joy. So that's like an intrinsic thing that all human beings have. Period. Given by God. That's the truth. And it don't come from a government. It don't come from that Constitution, but they put it there. But it came from the gospel. It came back to the whole concept, and the gospel was just a collection of things that went on 35, 45,000 years ago when they wrote the history, even our origins. And the stories we get about that, like one guy said, there's truth in the Bible, and then there's a whole lot that's not there. I mean, they went and they destroyed cultures that had other origin stories. They gave us this origin story. In the beginning was the word. That's what they gave us. And we go through all these things trying to understand how it applies. But it do apply. In the beginning, I saw the words we use. Our words created. We have a power that comes from the Creator that's given to you. They have the power to use your words, to speak your voice and change the world.
Okay.
Words matter. Words do matter, brother. That's for real. I agree with you. Words do matter. We're just talking about the definition. Don't throw a definition of a word to people who know definitions. That if I tell you that ain't the definition, I'm not trying to say it's wrong. It's just that all men are not created. You don't make a man blind equal with a man that see. But we are created equally. And I think the founding fathers who did that was trying to make us think that. But we could peep. See, it's the same thing with the Christopher Columbus. Don't get mad when I peep. Oh, that don't make sense. Oh, and then somebody pointed out, and we still want to stay with, well, all man is heavenly. Who was the ones who said that? The very people that didn't give us liberty. The very people who didn't give us justice.
I understand.
I'm not talking against what you're saying, dear brother. Believe me. I'm just pointing out another one of those inconsistent facts that until somebody tell us, then we'll scratch our heads. Well, damn, that does make sense. That does make sense. Thank you, brother. That's all.
Good deal. Good. Let me do this. I got to pull some more people because we'll get into a tennis match right here. I want to make sure I'm equal and I'm fair with everybody's time. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, I think that last back and forth probably could go back and forth between man's law and God's law.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I ain't gonna even get involved in that because they both probably mean the same thing to some people, so that might confuse some. But going back to the question you asked of why wouldn't they want correct history to be taught? First off, I think of the fact that the claims that are made is that it makes white people look bad and vicious and violent, and just puts all of them in that one group together. And Paul, aka Public Citizen, said that he's heard that same tactic being used. And I'm pretty sure there may be people that teaching critical race theory that's taking advantage of the opportunity to just boo-boo on white people. Just like I've seen footage of teachers in Vestavia Hills and Hoover and all over the United States that have said all kind of racist stuff to class fulls of white people that was caught on camera. Somebody was recording it, and they were throwing their own little twist in along with what history taught about white supremacy and white power, being chosen, favored, the chosen people. So, when you think about that, you ask the question, why would they want to hide it? Well, imagine over time trying your best to find a way to justify that. I'm gonna say, the ends justifying the means. The ends justifying the means of what you did to make America be what it is. Imagine trying to justify black codes, peonage, Jim Crow, segregation, slavery. Imagine trying to justify ripping people in half by tying them to horses and ripping them in half, or hanging people and cutting their babies out their bellies. Imagine them trying to explain and justify the necessity of Rosewood, Wilmington, North Carolina, of Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Imagine them trying to justify all the stuff that I showed in that book without sanctuary, all the medical apartheid. Imagine them trying to justify telling the father of black history, Carter G. Woodson, that he can't teach African history at a black college. Imagine trying to justify all this terror and all this bad stuff that went on for America to become what it has become, and say, well, you know what? It was necessary. We had to do it. And ain't you glad we did it? Because if we didn't do it, why, we wouldn't be the greatest country on the planet.
Wow.
Imagine having to justify that. So it's best you hide it and dress it up and make it sound good and heroic. Like they said, Pat Tillman went over there and died fighting terrorists, but really and truly, he died from friendly fire, and his brother had to sit back and lie about it. He watched it with his own eyes.
Wow.
But they wanted him to tell a lie, just so the story can sound good and heroic, all for the narrative. Makes me even wonder about 9/11. You remember what they said about the passengers overtaking the plane and making it not nosedive? To me, I think it might have been shot down.
Exactly.
But that would be so horrific for them to actually tell that truth So they have to dress it up and make it sound good so it can be acceptable by the public. And they'll go down through the annals of history
30 seconds
as the historic passengers on 9/11, was it Flight 93?
Yeah.
But really and truly, only a secret few people know the true history. We shot that thing down. Not only did we shoot it down, but we hit our own buildings and demolished them ourselves. And that was a necessity for that. Imagine them telling the truth about it, though.
Exactly. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Cassandra, what's on your heart? And Paul, coming to you next. Cassandra? Cassandra may have some issues with a line over there. Paul, talk to me, brother.
Oh.
She's there. Is Cassandra there?
Cassandra, you there?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, what I missed? Did I miss something? Or we still?
Yeah, we're still talking about the same situation, the same issue that we're dealing with. The truth. We're dealing with the truth, and actually telling the truth, teaching the truth, and let the chips fall where they may. Tell the truth and just let the chips fall, man. They gonna fall where they gonna fall. So let them fall where they may and deal with it and teach the children and continue to teach the children. This is what happened. This is what happened. This how certain individuals was treated. This how we became the great nation that we are. This is what we did. This is what we had to do, be it right or be it wrong. But this is the truth. Why can't it take that approach?
It can work like that if the people, the powers that be wanted to happen like that. It can work like that, and it's not going to traumatize their children, and it's not going to, cause all Black people to hate. You can always have, people that hate. I mean, they still hateful. I mean, not all, but you still have a lot of white people that they'll never accept Black people. They'll never accept Mexicans. And telling the truth, we might as well tell the truth. I mean, I can't deviate from that. The truth needs to be told when it comes to teaching the history of this country. Whatever that ends up with looking like or whatever, they just have to deal with it because we need the truth told. So I'm not changing from that. I'm staying right there.
Exactly. Paul, talk to me, brother.
Okay. Yeah. So one thing I wanted so many comments I could respond to. Like there's so many areas, but I just wanted to respond to one that Rika said about the racist teachers. And I've seen those videos with white teachers talking about Blacks and other non-whites, and that's a big problem. So that, and I think as part of like the education process to become a teacher, I think that's where critical race theory belongs right there, because that's where you're gonna get to you're gonna educate adults and teach them real history, like the real deep history, and that's very uncomfortable. And that's where you could talk about whiteness and that kind of stuff. When I walk in my door or when I walk in my classroom, close the door, nobody's watching me. I could say all kinds of outrageous stuff, and no one would ever. Well, unless the kid, told what I said. But I kind of tend to agree with Hicks more about like about you get it. Some people are framing it as, oh, it's traumatizing to whites to learn about the history. Well, maybe I don't think that's the issue. I think it's more traumatizing to non-whites. Really, I mean, it's like it can be very harmful. You could be, I don't know. I don't have the answer on that. I'm kind of working on this book, I guess, about anti-racism, teaching anti-racism, and I think like a lot of it is like all of us non-white people. I'm mixed, right? All of us non-white people were at a disadvantage, socially disadvantaged, economically disadvantaged, all these psychologically disadvantaged, because of white privilege and all these different things. I think non-white kids, they need like a guidebook on how to get through this society. this is a very hostile society if you're not white. So I think that, you know, what's our goal here? Is our goal here to help non-white kids as much as white kids have? I'm all on board for that. And that's kind of sort of separate from teaching history, but they're related. So, you know, I'm not necessarily worried about, oh, this white kid feels sad now because his great-great-grandfather, you know, was a Bull Connor relative or something. You know, I'm not concerned about that. I'm just concerned about non-white kids catching up to white kids. And that's where I stand on it. And I do believe that it can be very traumatizing. And, you know, me, I was adopted by white people. So I think growing up, I had sort of a lack of awareness of my non-whiteness. So, you know, I think I pushed some of that stuff to the side and didn't even deal with that trauma. And as an adult, here at 51 years old, I've just had to deal with this. It's there, and we're all dealing with it. All of the non-white people have to deal with the BS that's been put on us. So that's what I think.
Okay, Leonard, what's on your heart?
Hey, Raheem.
Yes.
I want to come behind Paul right quick, because I did address him earlier, and I let what I wanted to say incomplete. So I didn't want to make it seem like, you know, I was sort of, you know, going against what he was saying. But, you know, he's legitimate on saying that, you know, that about critical race theory, though there are black teachers that's abusing that opportunity. But I would say for anybody that supports critical race theory and wants to defend it from those that feel like that's the reason why it shouldn't be allowed, maybe we should also make sure that critical race theory teaches about the John Browns and the Quakers and all the catalysts, the abolitionists that also did good and that fought. Because if the narrative is being said is that critical race theory is just going to teach hate against white people, it's going to be hard to teach hate against white people when some of those same white people was fighting tooth and nail alongside of us. So for the supporters, when you come across that, because it may be true that somebody is doing that, I think there needs to be an emphasis put on the fact that we have to also teach the entire history, because there were some white people that did help and try to get us out of this situation or correct what was wrong. And at the same time, that proves that they aren't all bad and hateful like some are insinuating that critical race theory will do.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Well, you know, it's amazing to me how some people still don't really don't understand what critical race theory is about. It has nothing to do with what most people are talking about. That's why I don't. You can tell how ignorant a society has become. Like I said, you put race in it, now can't nobody understand nothing but race. It's not about teaching Columbus discovering America and all those Black history facts. That's not what critical race theory is about. Critical race theory speaks to the disenfranchisement of people as color, as it relates to, first of all, it was just the legal system. Now it's become healthcare, education, and it becomes those types of things that is based on that particular tenet of race theory about the permanence of racism in America. It ain't about slavery and all that type of stuff. Critical race theory is about mostly what happens after slavery. As we continue to become more evolved and teaching more, we still see racism in certain places. Critical race theory did not come from a feeling about Black people that way. It came from legal studies and how Black people were being disenfranchised through the legal system. This was after civil rights and everything else. It has nothing to do with your history lessons. Your history stuff is just bald-faced lies to some point. But teaching me that this person did this does not deny that another person did that. The issue is where the lies are. That's the issue, where the lies are. It's not about your feelings about slavery and all those types of things. That's not critical race theory. If you feel bad, you just wind up feeling bad. But that has nothing to do with critical race theory.
Okay. That's good. Let me go to Badger. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
I mean, I'm with Leonard because I actually had to call Leonard and learn what it actually was. Because I was under a different impression because of how some of the media was trying to portray it. So, but that's me and the way I do research. You know, that's why I brought up earlier when you came to me about how it's still in the Constitution, you know, that Native Americans are savages and stuff. It's the system, you know, and I think critical race theory isn't, like Leonard was saying, shouldn't be put in a history class. It should be taught in the economics. It should be taught in or give it its own class. Because a lot of people learn more when they go to college. There was a teacher here. I want to share a story of when I was at the museum and we were teaching a history class, and there was it was a black teacher, and me and her was talking while the kids were making dream catchers and things like that. And she told me, we started talking about the Civil War, slavery, and all that kind of stuff. And she said she didn't learn half of what she learned in college in public schools. And when she actually went to college and she learned, you know, all of the things that they don't put in the, like Abraham Lincoln, the whole, what's that thing called that he did? My mind's going blank on me.
Are you trying to say Emancipation Proclamation?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. You know, where, you know, that's like one of the things where, you know, he's freeing the slaves, but they don't ever put in history books in school that it only freed the slaves not controlled by Union forces. The Union could still keep theirs. So, like, there's a lot of this stuff that's not taught in history class. I do think it should be added to history class, but once again, it's going to boil down to what Leonard was pointing at, which is where my perspective comes from, is the people in power, if that gets out and gets put into public schools, they're going to start losing power because all of a sudden people are going to start understanding that, like the white people, you know, that I don't really fit in anymore. Will go from, wait, we were told they had more privilege, but this is saying that they don't and that we're equal? Like, think about that. You have this massive majority of white people that I have to deal with every day, as well as other people, but me being a half-blood and looking more white, they think I'm white. But, you know, and I try to inform them that they don't get, no other race gets more access to things than we do. The only thing I could possibly say where that is kind of a fine line is when people come from overseas, like the people buying the gas stations and stuff, would be the only people I would ever say that would have a slightly better chance or privilege than the rest of us that have been born and raised here in America.
I'm gonna play something. This young lady here, and Curtis is one of your favorite people, man. Jane Elliott. She has something where she's actually talking about. I've seen a lot of her stuff, and I just pulled this one up. I hope this is the one that I'm looking for. But it's talking about how can you talk to your kids about racism? How can you talk to your kids about racism? I'm gonna play that, and I want y'all to take a listen to this, and we'll be right back and discuss this when we come back. Here we go.
White people are smarter than brown-eyed people. They are cleaner than brown-eyed people. They are more civilized than brown-eyed people.
Prejudging people before you know nothing about them is you do it because you don't want to give up your ignorance. You want to continue to believe in the rightness of whiteness, and that is a lie. We have to give that up. Change the way you talk around your children.
Is that the reason you hit him, John? Did it help? Did it stop him?
I separated my students according to the color of their eyes, treated the brown-eyed people the way we treat white people in this country, treated the blue-eyed people the way we treat people of color in this country.
Is there anyone in this United States that we do not treat as our brothers?
You don't judge a book by its cover or a person by their skin. That only an ignorant person does that. And I would wear my sweatshirt on which it says, prejudice is an emotional commitment to ignorance. Prejudging people before you know nothing about them is you do it because you don't want to give up your ignorance. You want to continue to believe in the rightness of whiteness. And that is a lie. We have to give that up. We have to, change the way you talk around your children. Don't make those statements like, well, I don't dislike black people, but I wouldn't want my daughter to marry one. Quit saying things like that around your children. Quit making racist remarks around your children, because children will repeat those remarks when they come to some educator like me, and I'll have to say to them, wait a minute, do you have any idea how it would feel to be something like a person of that color? Would you like to experience living that person's life for a day?
You brown-eyed people are not to play with the blue-eyed people on the playground, because you are not as good as blue-eyed people.
And you have to teach children that you must not respect somebody who disabuses somebody else because of your reaction to their skin color. It's not because of their skin color. It's because of paleface's reaction, ignorant reaction to skin color. Skin color is real. It can't be changed. It shouldn't have to be changed, but we can change attitudes and behaviors, and that's what we need to do. Indicate to your children why those remarks are racist. Don't continue to allow that to happen in front of your children, because if you do, you are teaching your children what you will put up with. And if something is intolerable for my cousins of color, and we are all 30th to 50th cousins, then it's intolerable for me, and I will not tolerate it. And to act as though we are members of a different race is ignorant. Don't do it. Just plain don't do it. Human beings come in many different colors. Accept them as they are and enjoy them as they are. And don't allow anyone to tell you that you're members of different races.
What did y'all get from that, Cassandra?
Yeah, no, she's always, I've always enjoyed hearing her talk on race, and she always nails it. Her examples are so clear cut that I think any student that sits in her class, if they have crazy ideas about race, they should be totally straightened out. But we need more people talking the way that she does. Mm-hmm. And it does matter how you speak to your children about race. I know that I had a serious problem, like I said, with white people, because I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. I had a serious problem with white people. And then my grandmother would talk about them in such a negative way that it really reinforced that. I was like, all these people evil, and that was my thought, for years, until I had to do my own research and talk to people, white people, and see that they were individuals. Everybody shouldn't be lumped in like they do us.
Yeah.
Why would we do people the way that they do us? We're just as bad. We can't lump them all together in one. Oh, all white people, all what? No. So, I love her, and I love how she teaches.
Good deal, good deal. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother?
I was thinking how it seems like, and it's just me, it seems like we wait for somebody to give us the upper hand. My dad and mom would tell us, don't you bring no F's home. I don't care what they teach you. You pass your test. and I went to seminary, and I disagreed with the instructor. He said, "You got that right, but when I give you the test, in order to pass it, put what I told you."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you get out of the class, you can make your own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
That helped me along the way to kind of sift my way through what they was teaching at school and how people interpret their own little scripture. Because we can't believe everybody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My dad and mom, they'd sit us down. They wasn't educated, but they wasn't stupid either.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't horrible parents.
Mm-hmm. Good deal.
So they would kind of help us rationalize how you discover something that was already there.
Mm-hmm.
How you do that. When you come from a place that thought the world was flat. What? You know, matter of fact, you know there's some people that still believe the world's flat. Is it? I don't know. I'm not that bright. So you know, people, we believe people based on their status in life or how they look or whatever. But at the end of it just seems like we don't want to make our own decisions. We don't want to do our own checking it out.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it research, and just prove it. Prove it. You can tell me anything, but prove it.
Exactly.
And if you can't prove it, then it's up to me to search out the matter. And I won't be walking around here stupid.
There you go. There you go. Curtis, that was one of your favorite people, brother. What did you think about the clip?
Well, Jane is always on point. What she's trying to teach us is that history controls or has a propensity to control everything about the existence of our lives, past, present, and future. When you look at history as a whole, it has a tendency to mold minds, to tell people what is proper and what is improper. Everything about everything that we do, from economics to science, invention, everything that we do as a society, in all reality, is sparked and or controlled by the history thereof. So even good public policy, and in most cases bad public policy, is led by either positive history, negative history, true history, or false or false negated history. That's just what it is. Read any form of policy, the policy will have some form, it'll have numbers to it, it'll have statistics to it. Those statistics are gathered through the reports and through the situation of history. Okay, we have gun laws on the books that say, you know, okay, well, it is not proper for a person to own for example, a M250 cal machine gun. Well, that comes from, if you look in the Western era,
30 seconds.
When man started, and on a Gatling gun, man then had more power than the troops that was coming in to supposedly balance out the power. No, gotta stop. A man can't have that kind of weapon. So, and I'm just using that as an analogy. You know, Jane is she's always on. I'm surprised they haven't killed her yet. I'm surprised that they have not killed her yet.
Yeah, because she's always on point. She's definitely always on point.
On point.
Good deal. Hicks, talk to me, brother. Hicks, you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Talk to me.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, sir. Well, she's always been enlightened to me. I think that she made her rise right at the time of the Black Consciousness movement and the Natives Wrestlers. I think that she attempted to make white people see things that were subconscious about themselves. I think in the whole annals of truth and knowing who we are, they don't even know who they are. You know, they don't know what shape they're shaped into what they are. So she's very enlightened. Always good to hear.
Good deal. Good deal. Captain? Captain, you there? Let's go to Leonard. We'll come back to Captain. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, she's an excellent educator, but you know that comes from research and her doing the work to expose that. That was her passion behind it. That's why she's so successful at it, and she continues to, you know, gain in popularity because she's teaching the truth of the matter. So if you can't, you know, if you wasn't able to sit in a class or something that she was giving, you could see her on the internet, and you can read her books and things of that nature. But she ain't just one.
Yeah,
she's just popular. There's this whole thing about one, you know, whatever you see on TV, that's it, and it's not that it's not it. It's an entire movement.
Yeah, ain't that cut and dry?
Right? It's not that cut and dry. There were Elliots before this. You know, and one for people to always assume that the truth is somehow should be kept secret or what, or you should fear telling it or whatever. To me, it's not always the case. It is, what is it going to do? This information ain't going to be no more responsible for people wanting to be involved in this movement than our actions, like she says. I'll go back to children, teaching children.
Yes.
That it's wrong to do these things. You haven't always taught that.
Absolutely.
So you have to teach that to your children. Your children will be raised then to fight against this permanence of racism in American society. That part is critical race theory. It's the permanence of racism. How do we defeat that? That's critical race theory. It's not you feeling bad because your daddy owned slaves. So those are the things that we have to clear up first. What really matters and what's just information, and what information do we use to make decisions going forward? Now, you can hang on to those things that make you upset as long as you would like. But at some point, you should want to educate yourself just like Elliot. And even pursue more work that she left as recommendations after her study. And that's what, you know, is so hard to believe, that people will take one sentence they preacher said, but here's a whole body of knowledge you could use as well from various researchers on the subject. But you don't want to know nothing. You don't want to know nothing else because your preacher said this.
Or your preacher spoke out against this.
Oh, exactly. I love my bishop, but everything he say, I'm gonna research. You know, he's a great preacher. He got that down pat. And so far that I've been there, he's a great teacher because he wants to be. So he want to make sure it's the truth before he even bring it to you.
Yeah.
Because he knows there's some educated people in his audience. Every black person ain't stupid. You know how many PhDs sitting out there in that audience? People working in various programs in government and everything else, responsible for writing public policy and law. You can call all them people stupid because they black.
Wow. Rico, what's on your heart, brother? Badger, coming to you next.
Man, yeah, I mean, really can't dissect that video or nothing that she does. You know, if anything, I could use it for reference. If anything, she breaks down some of the things that I'm trying to say, some of the things that we're trying to say. She put it in live, real-time action so you can see it with your own eyes. And if I ain't mistaken, I think she even did an experiment like that with grown people. And some of them white girls went to crying. It's unfair that you're treating me like this. You shouldn't segregate me. She did the blue-eyed gang with them too.
Yeah.
And the adults broke down. If I ain't mistaken, I think I saw that. But see, you know, it goes back again to education. And if you are educated, then it's really sort of easy for you to recognize propaganda and rhetoric. And so, you know, with this critical race theory thing, the accusation that some of the teachers are taking the opportunity to make all white people look bad and to teach hate against white people. Because, I mean, I just heard what Leonard said, what critical race theory is, but that doesn't dismiss what these people have been saying. And what they are saying is that somebody been teaching hate against white people, and then therefore it exists an issue where it is kitchen hell being accepted based off of those arguments. So even with us knowing what it is, now we got to find a way to counter that propaganda and that rhetoric. And in the process of countering that, you nip it in the bud by bringing up people like James. Just for those that want to use that as a reason to not accept it. So you can holler all day long, this is what it means, this is what it means. But when they throw that propaganda out there and that rhetoric out there, they're going to vote on it. So you got to find something to counter that propaganda and rhetoric, even though that ain't what critical race theory means. They putting that spin on it. So what you got to do is you got to kill that energy. And you kill that energy by altering and protecting critical race theory and countering what they said by putting some good context of the white people that helped put critical race theory together. How Jane is giving you an example of it. You get what I'm saying? We have to go back and talk about the John Browns and what they believed in and all the other people that stood side by side with us to counter that rhetoric and that propaganda that somebody threw out there. And regardless of if it's part of critical race theory or not, it's in the air. You know, once upon a time, they said Martin Luther King was a communist.
It sure did.
Wasn't true, though.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But once they put it in the air, they use it against them, and then they glorified them after they killed them. But guess what? I knew better. I didn't care what they said. But for those that believed it, they might need to hear something to counter that belief by somebody that's educated and knows better. And that's the reason why it's important for us to have this education. You know, sometimes we do have to alter the way we move to address the enemy.
Exactly. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
Oh, I was loving what she was saying. That's pretty much how I teach my kids, and when I'm around, when I'm doing other things with adults too. It's just, you know, I shared something with you in the private chat and stuff, and it's, I wish more people would tune into someone like that and actually listen with an open mind. This is, no, I've made a comment a few times before that sometimes I very much dislike the color of my skin. Because I'm tired of being associated with those other ignorant ones. And I'm just, I swear, dealing with them, it honestly doesn't matter how many facts they're given. It doesn't. It blows my mind. I don't understand why it's so hard for them to realize that it's what that lady's saying is true. And I don't get it. The brain cannot be that stupid.
Wow.
I can't believe God would put that many people on this planet to be that stupid. That don't make no sense. They need to wake up and quit listening to morons like Trump.
508-924-35.
You better not come at me if you call.
508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Captain, talk to me, sir.
Man, did he say Charles? Did he say Charles?
No. He said you better not come at me.
Okay, I thought he said Charles.
No. He said you better not come at me if you call. Captain, what's on your heart? Captain, you there? I think Captain has some issues with his line there. I think he's having some issues. Let's go. I think we have Ibrahim. Ibrahim, good morning. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well. Good morning, everybody.
Oh, Lord.
How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. Walaikum assalam, brother. We're talking about this morning. We're talking about the school system, education system, and how they're trying to, Ibrahim, they're trying to change history. They're trying to take certain things out of history. They don't want to have the word slavery. They don't want to have all that stuff in history. They don't want to teach that to the children, because if you teach them that, Ibrahim, you're teaching them hate. And we don't want to teach our children hate. So let's just take this out. We don't need that in history. Ibrahim, what's on your heart?
Hey, brother, you know, I've been talking and thinking about that for a long time. I remember when I was going to elementary school and high school, they used to tell us that in history, black people had tails, and that we come from size and all that, right? So it's like a step in a different direction that they would even. But you know, the more we find out about history, right, the more it definitely it gives power to other people, other minorities. You know, it takes away the power. Just like if you use George Washington, why don't you tell the whole story about George Washington? Use the national anthem. Why don't you tell the whole story? Why don't you play all the national anthem? Don't omit anything, right? You know, and tell the truth. You know what I mean? This country still became great, not just on one group of people and their heroism and their intelligence and knowledge, but it was the knowledge and heroism and the sacrifice and sufferings of everybody. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's most important. I think that'll be more uniting the country. Of course, it'll take the people on top that paint themselves as icons and images of greatness. It'll bring it down to the true level that everybody put their pants on the same way. Everybody take a dump the same way. You know what I mean? It'll come out the same place. So the more we understand that, the more united we can become, and really become a group of one people, a nation. But as long as we sit back there and tell all this fantasies and just outright hurtful lies, and it hurts me that, you know, that I'm looking at people of color that are taken as the ignorant ones or the evil ones, right? Just because my skin color. I know how the brothers feel, how bad you feel, you know, because women start throwing up their pockets because I'm tall and I'm a little bit on every side. They grab their pockets, even black women grab their pockets, clutch it up, and look at me with jaundiced eyes, put their head down, try not to give me eye contact. You know what I'm saying? I was ready to do something. So yes, you know, we need to, but we cannot depend on other people to tell our history. Yeah. That's ludicrous. You know, we need to do just like dudes when they teach their language, they teach the history of their culture, whatever it is, right? We need to do the same thing. We need to take responsibility. We need to educate. Everybody say the children, hell, the adults need to be educated. How can you act on false information? You're gonna act unintelligently. If you act on real time information, real stuff, then you act more intelligent. You have more hope. You have more looking at, things to look at a different way. We need to teach our own children. That is our responsibility. Freedom and independence and responsibility of individuals and communities.
That's good.
That's I'm gonna go with.
That's good. Willa, good morning, Willa. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem. It's Morning Glow.
Willa, we're talking about history and the school system They're saying that what they want to do is they want to water down history. They want to take certain parts out, certain words they don't want to use when describing history, like slaves and different things of that nature. They don't want to do that, Willa, because if we teach that stuff like that, well, if we teach that, we're actually teaching hate, and we don't want to teach our children hate. No, we don't want to do that. Why would we want to do such a thing to our children? Come on, Willa, what's on your heart?
Well, they should have asked that question a long time before they did it. Because you know that, especially when it comes to our culture, you know, they've watered down so many truths that we don't even know what really is the truth, especially when we weren't there. You know, we take our history from people who we believe that were there and were going to tell us the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially when they talk about black, like I said, black history. I went to a predominantly white school, so black history wasn't something that was taught in general. You know, we was taught history, but it wasn't mainly based on black history until I came back in 8th grade when I went to a predominantly black school before I graduated. But, you know, there's reasons why people do things, Raheem. We know that, especially when we put certain people in office. We trusted them to believe that they're going to do the right thing. We know that that's not always so. So, you know, as a people, you know, Linda says it all the time. As a people, we should always study for ourselves, especially voting. That's our voice. Our voting is voice. I was at the voting poll this election, primary election. And Raheem, you wouldn't believe how many people showed up. Out of 1,500 people, 80 people showed up.
Man.
80.
That's
Raheem,
ridiculous.
80.
That's ridiculous.
And that's sad. That is so sad. So I'm just saying that people are just saying, you know, the negative are getting together, the evil is getting together, and the world is going in the direction that it's going in because we're not standing up. And that's what's on my heart, Raheem.
Wow. Wow. Captain, are you back with us, sir?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Now, she said out of, I think she said 1,500 people, only 80 people, 80 people came out to vote. Now, what kind of message is that, Captain? How much of an insult is that?
Well, let me say this, man. You know, I'm not the greatest guy to talk about politics. You know, I made that very clear.
Absolutely.
You know, I really that's a subject that I can only surmise that, you know, people have lost confidence in the political system. I can only look at it that way. But I did want to get back to that lady that you just played that videotape.
Yes.
And it's very important because I'm glad this is what you call Way Out Wednesday, what it's called.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
sir.
That
Way
means
Out Wednesday.
I could take the gloves off and stop trying to be nice and not offend people based upon what I believe. I'm tired, and I'm like my man, Professor Leonard. You know, if you're gonna deal with something, don't come to me if you don't know what you're saying in facts. Other words, critical race theory. Do you know the definition of critical? This is what they don't like about sometimes members of the nation. We study, man. Words matter. Critical. Do you know what the word critical means? Race. Race has nothing to do with color. Go into the Webster Dictionary, go in there and everything, and you see race of beginning and end. And so, you know, hey, where did color come in? Theory, assumptions, guess, conjecture, something that has not been proven true and factual. Until you prove it true, until you prove it factual, then it's no longer a theory. So if we're going to use words, understand the words that we use. So when we get into, see, Brother Leonard is probably the most knowledgeable in that area. But critical, absolutely crisis, absolutely, that's very serious. That's what it is. Critical means serious. Race, what? A color issue, a color theory? They ain't even been proven to be true. It's still in a theory form. So how are we going to come up with any conclusion when the juries are still out? No actual facts have proven none of this. So we arguing over something that ain't even been proven to be true yet, based upon what? A theory. So when we start using words, be careful. So when I was talking to brother, equal is not the same as equally. I know what I'm talking about. But if we get into our feelings and we get to begin to say, well, we hide our ignorance by going into God real fast, wrap ourselves in what God said, okay. But that's the same problem that we have in religion. You go into the Bible, that ain't all 100% true. That ain't 100% facts. You pick and choose what you want to be. There's some truth in it, but it's mixed with falsehood. Do you have enough knowledge to know what is the truth and what is the lie? Because if Reverend keep telling you the lie, you believe it. So when that lady keep talking about don't tell your truth, that's common sense. What are we going to do, pat her on the back because white folks say? It's common sense if you teach somebody they ain't nothing all their life, they going to believe they ain't nothing. It's common sense if you teach somebody you privileged based upon your hair, your color, your eyes, you're going to believe that. That's common. She ain't saying nothing to give her no damn Nobel Peace Prize.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how we are. White folks say, come on, man. I just have a problem with that. Then we have great black leaders say the same thing. Umar Johnson say the same thing, but you don't want to quote him. Ooh, because that's self-hatred. No black person can give us the truth, but white folks can. I'm not trying to not defend nobody, but I'm tired of this interior mindset that we keep portraying because we don't want to study. You don't want to look at the words you use, and then when somebody check you on the words you use, you say, look at this, I'm going on what it said, not what you think. You go to school, man, they give you a dictionary. Half the things we read, we don't even know the definition of them, and we use it so loosely. I'm sorry, I'm not that guy. I'm like my man Leonard now. Don't come to me with some ignorant stuff. If you're going to be straight, come with facts. We can argue on that, not assumptions now. Not what you think, not what you heard. Come on, facts. Yeah, it's way out. So that's me. I'm just coming out the closet.
Look here. You went way out that time, brother. You went way out now. You know, I'm winding you back in. I'm throwing my hook. I'm winding you back in. I take that hook. It didn't hit you, so hook that in the back of your shirt on your collar, because I'm winding you back in.
Dennis, thank you for saying what you said.
Raheem.
Yes, sir.
I need him to actually let me know if he's actually directing that at a certain comment that was made, because I mean I get the passion, but I mean I ain't getting the point if it ain't directed at something specifically.
I think it was specific. I think what it was, I'm gonna let him speak on it as well, but I think it was based on the clip that was played. He was saying that we giving her a pass because of who she is, and don't give us the same pass to somebody that look like us in the same given situation. But Captain, am I on?
No, absolutely right. I'm not. It ain't directed at nobody. I mean, listen, I can't argue with what people believe is right. I can't, but when I come with facts, deal with the facts. Don't deal with emotions. That's my point. I'm not the kind of guy you can just say anything and I'm gonna give you a pass. Where's that at, brother? I've been kind because this would make people turn off about us. If they ain't turn off about us because of our capacity, they turn off about us because we come with knowledge. And sometimes that becomes intimidating to ignorant people. That's all. And I try to hold back because, man, I just can't let you use loose words. So when you use the word emancipation don't mean freedom. Emancipation means I free you from my hand, but not my control. That's why he called it emancipation. But people would think that's freedom because they don't know the word of what emancipation means.
Good deal. Good deal. Got to keep it going, brother. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
I just came back on. What are we talking about now?
Oh, you missed it, Cassandra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you missed it.
Well, skip me then. I'll just listen in.
Okay. Rico, was your question answered, brother?
Yeah, but I'm wondering if we actually praising her, or we just giving her credit for saying what we've been saying and what Dr. Umar been saying. Because she actually made a video. She actually showed you in real time how it works. Now you can speak about it all day long, but it's a lot different when you have an example. So I mean, like I heard what Curtis said about it, and the reason why I give her the same amount of credit is for the fact that the tactic that she used to get that point across. Because sometimes you have to show people better than you can tell them.
That's true.
And I don't remember Dr. Umar making a video showing you with a class full of people exactly what he means. I've heard him say, The change is coming. The change is coming. The change is coming. You see, delivery is everything too. And sometimes we might get the best message from the outside because that was a more creative way of delivering it. It ain't about sucking up to her and praising her because she's white. It's about
no. I'm not saying. Listen,
hold on.
I'm not saying that, brother. Don't take my words. I was talking about.
Captain, I'll come back to you. Hold on, Captain. Captain, I'll come back to you. Hold on, Captain.
Pacific, man. Pacific, not general. Pacific.
Captain, hold on. Let him finish his thought. I'll come back to you. Go ahead, Rico.
It was about the way she expressed that, because sometimes we do have a hard time expressing and showing exactly what we mean. So these videos that she made, no, she ain't saying nothing no different than nobody else. Ain't nobody saying that, oh, she's a great white hope or nothing like that, or she Virgin Mary, savior of black people. Ain't nobody saying that. We just saying that, look, man, this is the first time we've seen somebody come and show direct visual evidence in live time of what she's saying working. It's like a study or experiment. So, I mean, we all know this is true, but without having proof, she just proved it. She gave us the facts. She proved her videos put fact to her theory.
Okay. Captain?
But let me say this. I hear what you're saying, Rico. Listen. Don't get me wrong. Here's my. Her approach is great. Oprah Winfrey did the same thing about 15, 20 years ago. The blue eyes, brown eyes. She may got the theory from old girl. I don't know. But it ain't like it's the first time being out there. At the same time, we understand. See, I'm not talking about those that's on this line. I'm talking about this seems to be the mindset of our people. It seems like when they, and it could be me. It seems like it gives validity when they say it. When in reality, we know it's the truth. How do we know it's the truth, Rico? Because we are victims of it. So we do know it's the truth. You like her delivery. You like how she approached. You like how she was able to use the methodology that made it across. Well, if she did that, has it made any changes? That's the question. Have all these years, all her videos, have it made any changes? So it sounds good. It's good. It's good. I like it. I'm not trying to say that's what we do. I'm not talking about I'm talking in general. That's all. Everybody made a comment. I'm not throwing on no individual. That was Curtis's. And brother said, Curtis, this your people. I'm not throwing down on Curtis or you and nobody. I'm Captain Dennis. I have my attitude. And if I felt that I did something to offend any one of you, please forgive me. I'm man enough to say that. That was not my intent to offend nobody. I gave my opinion. This is what I do. And if I offend anyone, please, brothers and sisters on this line, please, from the humbleness of my heart, forgive me. But don't read into what I'm saying. Don't miscrew when and if I see that you don't see what I'm saying, I got to come back and clear it up. Just like you had to say, Brother Rico, let me get back to Paul because I went here to clear. There was some things I want to say. I don't want him to think. That's smart. That's wise. I'm doing the same. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A young lady wanted to say something. Yeah.
I'll make a statement back on the topic.
Okay. Now, who was that?
Ibrahim.
Okay, Ibrahim, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, as far as the way the black population is trending, it takes a white person to trend us in these particular things, right? I've seen the same thing happen. There's a video going out. This lady talks about the racism and slavery and how it affects us. She's a professor, and she makes these statements all the time. I'll send you the video, like I send you a lot of stuff to prove everything I said, right? But when she comes out and says something, all of a sudden I hear these middle class people and these intelligent black people saying, well, see, they know who's they. How many of them actually know or believe in this? But now all of a sudden they're believers because a person that they have in esteem, whether it be white or black person, right? Because people still saying 400 years of slavery in America, and that's so much a bigger lie as anything that you want to go for, that you want to say. That eliminates over 100-some years, 116 years to be exact. But we listen to people like this, and then come the virus. A white lady said that, brought up a couple of lines out of one paragraph and made a whole treatise out of it, right? And said, this is why I don't want this cells in my body, right? That happened in 1960. And then qualify that, and you read the whole paragraph that she quotes from, then it turns against everything that she said. But people ate this up. They argue with me and cuss me out, say I'm a fool for taking the shot, the vaccine. And now this will kill black people. And that, you know, I went through that. I broke everyone down. I came up with the facts and everything and the fiction or the feelings and sensation, right? There are facts established on both sides, but the facts I used was good enough for me to get the vaccine. So what I tell you, anytime you want to change black people's opinion, you find the right preacher. That preacher out of Texas got this big old mega church, right? He say something about and glories about black people. One preacher said something about I want to be black because even through slavery, they praised God and God got them through slavery. That takes strength and belief and faith. You know, I mean, stuff like that. Everybody went wild about it. People sending me quotes, some of my Christian brothers and sisters and cousins sent me quotes about that. See, they understand. They know they had a feeling for it. I looked at that and I said, that's about as crazy as but anyway, I still convince them and try to go conversation. But as soon as a white person come up with it, I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to come back at it again. You know, and I'm not talking just out of prejudice. I'm talking out of observation. And another thing, one other thing, theory always remain a theory.
30 seconds.
You know, when you prove out a theory.
Got 30 seconds, brother. Go ahead.
Okay. When you prove out a theory, that means that you're doing the same experiment over and over again, and you get same or similar results. There's no such thing 100% truth or 100% fact or 100% truth. All right. Thanks. Sir.
Good deal. Good deal. Anybody else have anything they want to say? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say this about Jane Elliott, right? Jane Elliott has been doing this since 1968, right? Okay. And she targets her audience is white people. If you're trying to change the ideologies of white people, then that's who you talk to. When a lot of times when we're talking about race, we're talking among ourselves. What good is that doing? But if she can change one mind, which I believe she has changed many minds over the years of white people concerning race and black people, then she has done a great job. She's not trying to change everybody because she knows, I think she's intelligent enough to know she can't change everybody. None of us can. But if you can touch the lives of somebody and change something, an ideology that's wrong, and make them see that, then you've done your job. So I don't think and I've listened to her a lot, I've never heard her try to say she's trying to reach everybody or she's, going to do something magnificent. But she has done something magnificent because it has been proven the students that have been in her class, their mindsets about race has changed. I just want to say that.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me see. We got so many people here.
Can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead, Bench.
So I was sitting there thinking about what Gap was saying, and I understand where he's coming from, or at least from my perspective. And it was what I was trying to hint at earlier as well. And I've brought this up multiple times too. There's a lot of the younger generation that don't think that way. Most of the more, I guess I could use the word hardcore race issues and things of that nature is usually with the older folks. So it's because the younger generations, my age or younger, are dealing with a lot of stuff. They can't just work a job and buy a house anymore. They acknowledge that racism exists, but they work hard not to let it affect them. And they work hard to try to make sure it doesn't exist. There's a ton of young advocates out there fighting every day. And they're changing the mindset. But they're having to deal with the economy as a whole, trying to be able to work, trying to go to college, trying to fight the corrupt system that we have. Well, not corrupt system, the corrupt people in our system. They're having to deal with, my view and my opinion, a religion war. Because if you don't believe a certain way, you can be totally exercised from a community. Still to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So there is so much going on with racism, separation tactics, that you have to get educated. You can't just speak from personal experiences. You know, the area that I live in, I deal with so many racist white folks, it's not even funny, but I fight them constantly. I provide facts and everything else. They don't want to hear anything I have to say because it's factual. I can prove it. And they'll still sit there and go, well, I don't see it.
Mm.
So, like, even if it happens right in their face, and there was a few times that it happened right in front of some people's faces, and I'm like, that is racism.
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes right over their head. Either it's almost like the ignorance is bliss attitude.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not on the news or not said by a president, because white folks have unfortunately learned to become sheeple, until we get good leaders, I have a hard time believing the majority of white people that are ignorant are going to change their mind.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Let's keep this thing going. We got a few more minutes. Let's go to Paul. Paul, what's on your heart, brother?
Okay, thanks. The thing that stuck out to me on that video was just one line in particular. She said, "Prejudice is an emotional commitment to ignorance," and I'm sure other people have said that in other ways. I'm sure we've all thought that, but that's deep, you know, and that's universal, and that applies to all of us because we all have prejudice and bias and stuff, and we have to fight against it. So, I mean, I could teach that right now. I could walk into a classroom right now and teach that to kindergartners. I could teach that to 8th graders. I could teach that to 12th graders. I could teach that to anybody. Mm-hmm. And just to circle back to what Rico was talking about the teachers who are saying anti-white stuff, it's mostly white liberals who are just kind of new to learning about racism, and then they get, you know, really emotional, invested into it, and they just say the wrong thing. That's my opinion. My other opinion is we need more black men in education because they're highly underrepresented. My mentor in college was a black man, and I love this guy because, you know, he spoke with such passion about these same topics we're talking about here. So, you know, there's clearly we have plenty of brain power in the black community. So that's what we need to do is get more black men in education.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Curtis, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
Okay, I'm going to say something, and please, no one take me out of context, please, because I understand both sides as a human services guy, counselor, coach, and all of the above. I understand it. But I need for somebody to tell me when the history of this country was peaches and cream. I need somebody to tell me the history of this country was not hurtful to a given population, culture, and or set. And let me tell you what is deep down in the core of my being is that we utilize the fact that in teaching the truth, it may become disheartening to some, right? That we won't teach it because of the fact that it's too harsh. But the truth is, nothing about the history of this nation was soft, cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
So are we saying that we're not going to tell our kids, okay, boy, you raped that girl. If you rape that girl now, when you go to prison, Sugar Lou gonna get hold of you when you get over there. He gonna tear your booty up. You know, inmates who go to jail for rape, they don't like the boy. They whole situation is their whole time served is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not gonna tell him that. We're just gonna let him just continue to walk blindly or we just gonna continue to try and teach our kids this false dichotomy. Because realistically, that's what we're doing. We're teaching a false dichotomy. Oh no, we want to change the word slavery to indentured servant. Oh no, we want to remove this out of the book because we don't want people to know how many people got abused on the Pettus Bridge. Oh no, we don't want the American public to know how we disenfranchise people of color in terms of banking, which caused for them to truly struggle, starve.
30 seconds.
Oh, we don't want to teach about the Black Wall Street. Oh, we're not going to talk about Philadelphia August 1985 when they blew up the whole block and assassinated a bunch of people. Oh no, we're not going to talk about that because that's going to make us look like we're heinous. Well, did the act that you commit, was it heinous? Did the atrocity that you committed, was it heinous? Because if we're not going to do that, then we still standing on a lie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, stop trying to kids. They can take it more than you think.
Let me go
they
to
can handle it more than you think.
exactly. Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to Leonard. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
I think, I want to just insert in here, since we've been talking about critical race theory, that you all have hit on some of the tenets of critical race theory as it relates to voice. One of the parts of it is voice of color. And it's the story that Black people can tell because they have been the victims of racism and they have experienced racism. That gives validity to every story that a person of color tells when they talk to you about an issue with racism that they've had. Also, I think Paul may have brought it up earlier about that social construct. Folks may not remember when they actually tried to use biology and everything to say that this is why there's such a difference and this is why we have to treat them different. It didn't last because it wasn't true.
Yeah, exactly.
And so people have to understand that's what that critical race theory part is about. It's about how we've gotten to where we are today and how we're using these certain mechanism things that consistently perpetuate the notion of white supremacy. That's what Chris wrote. And then that we're not going to give this credit to a white man like someone I believe had mentioned before. The critical race theory became big when I graduated from high school in '89, I believe. Brother, I think his name was Derek Bale was a professor that brought it out because it was critical legal studies. The actual phrase itself, I believe, was coined by a female professor, I think, at Stanford. But that work was put together by Derek Bale. He is known as the father of critical race theory. Absolutely. I know that because the year I graduated was '89, and that's when I remember that. And the work, because, all schools didn't have programs of African-American study. Some of them still don't, where you can actually go get these degrees in African-American history. And I'm saying it that way so you know what degree you're going to get. You're not going to get a Black history degree. You're going to get a degree in, and this is why it's specific with Miss Elliott. That's her field of study. Her audience ain't necessarily you. You weren't used in probably some of her experiments. Why? Because she's addressing the perpetuators of white supremacy and trying to teach white children something different by showing you, look at our kids. This is why our kids are the way they are, is because look at this test. I've seen another test by another sociologist as it relates to the fear of God. By if you put kids in a room all together at once and tell him that there's an angel sitting in a chair and tell them not to do something, let's bring all those kids back in there, each one, and see if they do what they were told not to do. Some kids didn't care who was sitting there. Some kids went over there and even put their hand in the chair to see if somebody was sitting there. They looked around before they did this, that, and the other. So we have to understand that when we're talking about actual theory is put out there so somebody can try to refute it. It explains the thing.
The black dog and the white dog theory. The black dog and the white dog. You're right. It
explains the things and it helps you understand the thing better.
Yeah.
When you can see this type of work, because it's an exhaustive work. It is through experiment, through permission, through other peers have looked at this work. Everything. People have challenged this work and you have to defend that work. And if you are successful in that, it becomes a theory. I think when we
Yeah.
got off track, Umar is the worst representation of anything educated and black, period, because of his behavior. And the Negro still owe me $20.
Wait a minute. Wait. I said he owe you $20. Hold on, bro.
No, he's right. He's right. He probably donated to that school that he
Come
never
on.
did. He's a crook.
As much as I love that brother, I hate to see what happens to him. But he needs to
One
get
other
my
time,
20. He needs to run my $20. Is what he needs.
Well, hold on now. How you gonna throw that and he owe me $20?
Because he owed me $20.
Lord Jesus.
But just to bring it back, even with my dissertation, I was told that I couldn't use Brother Kunjufu's studies by another black man.
Wow. Wow.
Because the board was less likely to approve Kunjufu's work as it relates to psychology and African American boys.
How can they discredit his work?
Because if they go back and find out that your work has not been tested properly, or they don't consider you a scholar, they'll sit there and try to refute or go against the work that you're doing.
Wow.
And see, that's one thing that, people don't understand is when you see theory, it's a lot more than you sitting around talking to your friends. That ain't theory, talking to your friends. Theory is when you put out something and you say, I'm going to defend what I say if any questions come about.
Now, Leonard, now you're over your 3 minutes now. Hold on now, preacher. Hold on, preacher. Let me go to Willa. Willa, what's on your heart?
Everybody's making great points, Raheem. When you talk about our history and then truth from fact, you know what I'm saying? But we are as people, and then be like you in church. If it ain't for you, don't pay no attention to it. We're some of the laziest procrastinators, and I say that because I'm a Sunday school teacher, and then you would think that would be like one of the most important things that you would come to, because you're really trying to study the Word of God. You really trying to get the truth, because that's what it's based on, the truth. Especially trying to believe something that we've never seen, that we are using it based on information that we received from someone else, a book, or whatever. Because the Bible says that faith comes by hearing. So tell me how you're going to hear if you're not there. So whatever it is, and you're not studying, people they just want somebody else to do the work. That's how I see it a lot of times. So it frustrates me, but it's just like what Ms. Cassandra said. Whatever that young lady's doing, she's trying to change a mindset. And the only way you're going to do that is by listening. People could be talking and you don't even have to be listening. You know what I'm talking about. People talk to you, what you say, So until we understand that concept, we're going to be in the position that we're in. That's what's on my heart, Raheem.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, listen, what's on my heart is this 10:04. We got to get out of here. This has really, really been way out Wednesday. This has been way out Wednesday today. So I want to thank everybody for joining us and participating, everybody for listening. Rico, if everybody's free around 3 o'clock today, what should they do?
You should tune in to hear or see the rebroadcast in its entirety.
There you go.
On www.dklmediagroup.com.
Good deal. Good deal. Willa.
Hey, Raheem. I told my counselor, y'all got to be quiet now. I'm going to get ready to talk to God.
Look at, I just want to know, are you ready?
Raheem, let me tell you something. I am so ready.
You sure you ready?
I am so ready to talk to my Father this morning.
Yeah,
I am.
You sure you ready?
Come on, Raheem. Come on.
Willa,
I'm ready. Let me go.
Let's go.
Amen. Father God in heaven, Lord, we thank you this morning. We thank you, Lord, and honor you this morning, Lord. Father, we thank you for waking us up, giving us an opportunity to get our relationship right, Lord. Father, you said that you are the truth. And Father, I believe that you are. You said that your truth is a buckler and a shield. Father, I thank you for the protection, Lord. I thank you for what you do in my life. me. Father, I am so gracious about the grace and the mercy that you bestow on me each and every day. I'm asking you, oh Lord, to touch each and every last one that's on this line, Lord. Touch Curtis, Lord. Touch him in a mighty way. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to get up. Touch Raheem and his family. Keep everyone safe. In Jesus' name, amen, amen, amen.
Amen. See, that's where you end it right there. Amen. Anybody have anything on their heart before we get out of here?
Raheem, we
Yes,
want to
sir.
remind people, because we talk a lot about it and issues. Start talking to y'all people about voting in November.
Mm-hmm.
Start talking to your people about voting in every local election for everything, school board or what have you. The attack is coming, and these people are being empowered by these conversations the Supreme Court is having.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They will try to follow suit in your local areas.
Now, Linda, are you gonna vote for a Herschel?
Who?
Herschel.
I wouldn't. You know what? I'm not gonna denigrate the man. I'm not. Lord Jesus, forgive me after that beautiful prayer that Willa just taught. Yes, we just had prayer. I'm gonna go with the elders on that. We just had prayer.
But you know what? I wanted to see who was gonna say something. So that means Cassandra's gonna vote for Herschel.
Don't do
I done figured it out.
Stop.
See, I got a Cassandra.
How you gonna start a mess at 10:06 at 10:08? How?
I'm just saying, Cassandra gonna vote for Herschel. She's voting for Herschel. I done figured it out.
I will not say a curse word because Lola has done a beautiful prayer.
Yes, ma'am.
We're gonna end right there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Good
ma'am.
deal. On that note, I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DK Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your day. It is now 10:08. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Now we shine some of this light of you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. Get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day, and please, please, please be blessed. Love you. Take care of each other. See you tomorrow if God says the same.